Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Red Pill Nation After Dark.
Midnight feeds still glowing. Boys, you listening? We're just pretending. Petitions rising in the frozen west. Cold fire under Alberta's chest. Maps don't move, but the people do. Power hums when the silence breaks through. Minneapolis burning around the edges. Not the players, just the ones near the ledges. Warnings whisper through polished teeth. Order talks when chaos breathes. Screens light up, the story bends. Truth wears makeup, depends who's friend. Welcome to the Hangout, baby, stay awake. Every headline's wearing lipstick and fake. I purr the news like the slow draw sin. Lean in close, let the signal sink in. Red Pill Nation after dawn. I don't scream, I leave a mark. A preacher paused by a cameraman's grin. Holy ground with a needle pin. Charges filed, the choir stared. Faith interrupted, nobody spared. Stereotypes switching outfits again. Watch conviction fold into trend. Say it's growth, say it's brave. Funny how fast belief behaves. I don't judge, I just watch it fall. Patterns repeat like a late night call. Welcome to the Hangout. Sugar, take a seat. Truth sounds better when it's whispered sweet. I undress headlines, slow and clean. Tell you what they mean between the screens. Red Pill Nation, velvet tone. I don't fight, I let it be shown. A game character wakes up wrong. Accidentally says what you're not supposed to say. Icons aren't chosen. They slip. Greenland echoes through European halls. Lots of noise, no footsteps at all. Welcome to the Hangout, boys, behave. I don't sell noise, I'll sell the wave. Watch the world through a smoky lens. No heroes here, just how it ends. Red Pill Nation, lights down low. I don't tell you what to think, I let you know. Same time next episode. Don't forget who read it to you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Red Pill Nation. Literally after dark. It's like almost 1 o'clock in the morning here. Yeah, I guess I probably should be giving you an explanation because I've been extremely inconsistent over the past month. Yeah, like I said on the previous episode, things have made a change for the better. Part of the making of the change of things for the better is that I'm now spending a lot more time out of my residence, going places, seeing people, talking to things, going back to the gym, all of those nice, wonderful, normal things like going out to a coffee shop to journal, little things like that. They all take time and they all take time away from the apartment. I mean, it's one of the things I was going through is that, I mean, I was going through a very difficult period personally. More of a financial situation because I couldn't really afford to go out anywhere. I was eating at home. I was staying at home a lot, and that's not going to be the case anymore. Uh, Meant to get caught up on all the episodes last week. Life intervened. Hopefully, barring the unexpected, because I mean, one of the other things I've been doing is that the thing about being basically cooped up in an apartment for most of the last 5 years is that my immune system ain't quite what it used to be. I have gotten sick 3 times, no flu, fortunately, but I have gotten really sick, like to the point where I've had to take a day 3 times in the last 2 weeks. Hopefully, my immune system will kick in and get a little bit stronger, and I'll be able to get caught up because there was one time in particular where I wanted to do this show and woke up that morning with a screaming headache and stayed with a screaming headache for the entire day. And it was like, yeah, no, there's no show going on tonight. So, but yeah, here I am on the show tonight. And the schedule is that I will be doing a show tomorrow, just giving you a heads up. Episode number 500 is next week. I was leaning towards doing it. I was leaning on doing it on the 14th, but I might not do it until the 15th now. Jaffe just informed me he's not going to be available on Tuesday, and Rearson is available on Tuesday. By the way, Roger, I sent you a link if you want to jump in. It is both Teams and it is at Element. Hopefully, you'll be able to find it. You feel like jumping in, jump in. So, for those of you who don't know, I am at the following places in terms of size right now. BitChute and Rumble are like literally tied as of last time I checked. Odyssey, which just recently passed 200, is in. Hold on a second here. Just give me a second. I can hear. Might be able to bring Jaffe on. Now, okay, yeah, I'm sending a message to Jaffe. So maybe Jaffe will be able to pile on here. Well, we'll see. If Jaffe jumps in, he jumps in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Anyway, so yeah, 4th is YouTube, 5th is MGTOW TV, and 6th is Brighteon. Currently still doing Kick and Twitch. I might be dumping Twitch and moving over to censored just because I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of it. I'm also at Facebook, Minds, Gab, MeWe, Getter, and that's Gab, MeWe. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. All of the links are down below. I also have a Patreon, and yeah, time permitting over the next 48 hours, I'm going to have to sentence myself to updating my Patreon. Apologies to the people at Patreon who support me, but I don't post up any content there. Like I say, I do this to die or something, do something die or find something better to do. I don't necessarily, I mean, I don't do 500 episodes with almost zero cash coming in. I mean, yeah, I know some people get really offended because I start out with that pitch, but you know what? I don't really, I keep forgetting about Patreon. I keep forgetting to post up my content to Patreon. Yeah, yes, one last thing before we get into the actual show itself. I will be getting all of, well, first of all, 96 is restricted on YouTube. 97 won't let me. I won't, like, they're not, 497 is not up at YouTube. It is up at Odyssey, however. So yeah, you can see it there. Yeah, I will be getting fully cobs. It's gonna be a full, except for when I go to the gym. Tomorrow is just basically gonna be me sitting at a laptop most of the day, working on content for the show because I need to get caught up with the show, with the basic fundamental realization that you know, I'd like to think maybe, even though my audience is small, I'd like to think that maybe I'm making a bit of a difference here with a few people. Gonna be introducing a few new ideas over the next few months. And oh, yeah, it was my birthday on July the 1st. I am now less than 365 days away from turning 60. So, yeah, I'm an old fart. If you didn't already know I was an old fart, now you do. All right, so the topics for tonight, and I think you'll find this to be a very, very interesting set of topics. Topic number 1, Kir Starmer, the British PM, resigns. Topic number 2, and I got a lot of video for this one, Grooming Gang report released on Britain, up to 250,000 female victims. Topic number 3, Montreal Shooter kills 2 people and himself. Very curious response by both the government and the media on that one. Topic number 4, Elon Musk becomes world's first trillionaire leftist Sperg out. Topic number 5, Warner Brothers Studio appears to be hiring bot accounts to deflect away from the impending Supergirl movie disaster. They didn't appear to. It looks very much like they did. And topic number 6, EU passes new restrictions on immigration. So yeah, it's a very it's a very mixed bag, rather Europe heavy tonight. So without any further ado, let's just get right into this here. Let me just quickly get the first timestamp in here. Okay, and of course, yours truly has got video on this. So, yeah, without any further ado, let's just play the video. Here we go.
6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told time and time again that my party was finished, that we were consigned to history, that a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority, was impossible. But we proved those people wrong because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism, restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag. The hard work of change was with a singular purpose, not power for power's sake, but to change Britain for the better, to build a fairer country with dignity and respect, where everyone is seen, everyone is valued, wealth and opportunity for all, not just the privileged few.
Yeah, so Keir Starmer, well, I mean, he kind of lucked out when he became prime minister because Boris Johnson did one hell of a job of self-destructing. Oh, wait, here we go. We got somebody in here. Jaffe Ryder is gonna be joining us here just a second. Jaffe, where are you? Oh, hey, Jaffe, introduce yourself, please. Jaffe? Jaffe? Okay, so Keir Starmer. He kind of got lucky in a way because Boris Johnson really knew how to tank a government. And Keir Starmer got in with a larger majority than what actually Boris Johnson had when he won his election. And what ended up happening is that, I mean, I knew almost immediately because there was no, because of the way Boris Johnson had reacted and the way his government was doing things, that it was going to be a very, very scary and hectic couple of years, maybe even 4 or 5 for Great Britain before things happen. Well, keep in mind, Nigel Farage has made a major comeback. Oh, Jaffe, are you available now?
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, I changed my camera around here too, so I don't know. What can you see as far as camera goes?
I'm seeing the J. That's it, and that's okay because it is still just mostly audio at this point. So,
is there any way of getting a background? Can I put?
I have a background up.
No,
I do have a background up.
See if I can do that via. I don't know if I can do that via this. And anyways, Jaffe Ryder via South Korea, WPRPN.com is the main website. We have some host provider issues at present. We should have that resolved in the next couple of days. People can easily access the site after that, fingers crossed. But you and I, Naroki, we go back a while, live streaming for a number of years now, of course, and we haven't really connected in quite some time. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope we can get our timetables squared away for the 500th show you've got coming up here.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was going to do 500 because Rearson has Tuesday, Wednesday off. So I had initially scheduled it for the 14th. But he is also available on the 15th, which, because I mean, I've got to get Kelso and maybe Angel, Roger, a few other people on. Even Emmanuel. You might remember Emmanuel Manny Barrages from years ago. He might be popping up to make an appearance as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not very often you did get a 500th episode.
No, that's right. So yeah, you've been busting your ass to pump out this incredible amount of content. We've scaled things back, mostly because it's just we got other things to do, and donations are very far and few between. So life is short, man. We've been working on it for over 10 years, and mostly as a public service than anything, and a chance to be not only a part of public discourse, but contribute in a way that's hopefully beneficial to some people in the sense that they haven't heard the sort of angles that we're providing, or the pieces of information, maybe the news leads, or what have you. So every little bit, I do believe, makes a difference. The ripples that are out here doing
Yeah.
our thing. Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah, no, well, I mean, I didn't say never thought I'd get to episode 500. I always knew I was going to get to episode 500. We're at 498 right now. I'll just read in case you didn't see the topics already. Right now, we're talking about the Kir Starmer resigning. Again, one of the things I just explained this at the start of the show, so I'll make this very brief. I've had a turn. I went through rather financially stressful couple of years here, and that just ended here weeks ago.
Hmm.
And the process of which has been that I'm starting up things that I probably haven't done, a lot of stuff since I haven't done since 2019, which is eating into my time. And I'm having to make a whole bunch of readjustments. And one of them was that one time I got that, among other things, when you've been basically apartment bound for probably about 4 or 5 years, and you have to step out, you have to start mingling with people. Your immune system isn't as strong as it used to be. And yeah, I immediately proceeded to get some really nasty day colds, which
Yeah.
sidelined me for about 2 or 3 days
Hmm.
at one time. Um, Going back to the gym, stepping out more, finally able to do things like, say, go to the occasional restaurant and have a meal there, stuff like go to movies again. They go to a lot of movies again, right? Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
all eats into your time, right? So yeah, I just haven't had the time, haven't
Yeah.
worked out a schedule yet to get
Hmm.
to do this. And I mean, I'm actually this one I'm doing tonight. This is the one that I should have done last week, but I was a week behind because I actually missed an entire week of shows because of
Don't worry about it, man.
yeah.
Like you guys just don't like. I hope you're not guilt tripping over the whole thing
Oh,
because
I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not. Life happens, right? So
yeah,
anyway, yeah, getting back to this particular, so Keir Starmer resigned. I was actually just about to read off all of his. This is just the stuff. This is from Archie's Politics on Twitter. He went on. He
he's a
went on
lot.
Lance.
Well, he's a lifelong Fabian socialist too. Let's not forget.
Oh, absolutely. And his actions clearly dictated that. Oh, there's some stuff about him that's just mind blowing here.
Total
Okay.
useful idiot.
Yeah, useful idiot. All right,
Trade.
this is just a really quick summary of some of the stuff he did, not just the Fabian socialist stuff. All right, since his government took power, he took pensioners' winter fuel payments, increased inheritance on tax farmers. There's the Mandelson scandal, which I really don't know anything about. Lost thousands of Nigel Farage has basically, for on the municipal level, with the Reform UK, has basically usurped a lot of the labor city councils all over Great Britain. He's raised taxes. There's the freebie scandals, the mass resignations, and we'll be talking about this. You got his disastrous handling of the beheading situation, where he absolutely he didn't actually out and out condemn at a time when he's facing huge protests over his immigration policies. He didn't even acknowledge that immigration was a problem after the beheading incident in Belfast. There's also his involvement in which I will be covering tonight as well, the UK report, and I got a lot of video on this one. The UK report: 250,000 mostly white female victims of immigrant Muslim grooming gangs in Great Britain. And Starmer, even before he was prime minister, was running block on a lot of this.
That's what really did it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, frankly.
Yeah.
So huge.
And also, yeah, absolutely. And oh wait, it gets even better. That Scottish girl in Dundee who fought off a pedophile who's hitting on her sister, and certain members of labor government actually tried to accuse her of being a member of a gang and tried to accuse her of lying. Turns out that the guy she was defending her little sister from was actually an immigrant and a pedophile. So yeah, that was
whoa. So he had a record coming into Britain.
No, he didn't have a record coming into Britain, but I mean his actions, like he basically that event in Dundee, Scotland.
Yeah.
He starts talking. He's walking down the street, and he sees a girl who's probably clearly underage, right? And he goes, hey, sexy, I'll show you a good time. This is a guy who's like 23, 24, talking to a 12-year-old like that.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but did he know that she was 12 at the time?
Usually it's pretty easy. Well, I mean, okay.
Usually, yeah.
Usually.
Yeah,
I mean,
usually,
I mean, I have had, I did have one occasion a few years ago where I started talking to this one girl when I was in line for coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she didn't say anything till I almost got up to the front. And then she looks at me and she says, I'm 14. I look at her and there's no way I would have guessed her to be 14.
What would you have thought? What did you think?
Probably 17.
Yeah, I know that's the thing, right? That's how it is sometimes. You just don't know. So anyways, it was this, whoever you are as a male, it works both ways too, because you have, there's an endless number of stories that I see on YouTube of female predator teachers a lot of times.
Oh, female teachers especially, yeah.
So, but it is the onus, I guess, the burden of responsibility is upon. Well, you got to work out the ages clearly, if there's any doubt whatsoever, right? But it's tricky, I guess, if somebody lies, though, too, right?
That's happened a few times, but yeah, it's like you always gotta confirm the age, right? Like, I mean, a lot of the times, if they're decent, they will just tell it. Like, although she didn't again, right? I mean, this is what happened to me. This happened to a few other guys. They start talking to this girl. You talk to them for a few minutes, and then they will tell you after a few minutes, right? It's like,
well, at least you had a quality conversation with somebody, got to know them.
So you got a cat there in the background that's meowing for attention.
Yeah. We had him muted out, actually. A fair deal here too. That's Danny, our special needs pirate mascot kitty. WPRPN for those who are not in the know or initiated. World Pirate Radio Podcast Network. So it's kind of makes sense to have a three-legged kitty. He's our ships, or the Robin Hood's mouser, obviously, but he's a really sensitive little guy. But he should stay relatively quiet now, and if he doesn't, I will mute out. But
all right,
continue.
Starmer tried to make himself look noble as he was going out, but I mean, again, right? And we also haven't covered the fact that, well, I mean, among other things, at one point they tried to prevent Tommy Robinson from getting back because he was actually arrested in Canada at one point. But there's also the
when was that? When was he arrested in Canada?
That was a couple of years ago. He was in southern. He was held in southern Alberta. They didn't keep him there for very long, but it prevented him from getting back right away. And it was during the British election.
Maybe he was detained.
Yeah, he was detained.
A technical difference. So, and just to kind of further help to flesh things out here, there are, speaking of Robinson, I'm not down with his just radical pro-Zionist position whatsoever. I've got nothing good to say about that, unfortunately. But there are other alternatives to even who's the other the
Nigel
major.
Farage. Nigel
Correct.
Farage.
He's got his issues too. There are some people who are not pleased with his politics and his way of on the surface he comes across as something of a rogue candidate who's out to kind of bring about the kind of reform that the UK really needs. But there are have you been following these upstart parties like that
Well, I
are
have been
have been
following
emerging?
Reform. I've been following Reform UK. I know Reform, which is Nigel Farage's party. Like I know that again at the local level, at the municipal level, Reform UK has displaced a huge portion of the Labour seats municipally, and also, and I haven't even gotten into this, the fact that Great Britain has arrested more people for hate speech and internet violations over his 2-year period than the next 5 countries put together,
That's like
even
it's
more than China.
12,000. It's
Yeah,
12,000 or something, or even more. It's utterly it's disgusting. And it's the whole what was that movie? Alan Moore and V for
V.
Vendetta.
Yeah,
That's what the stage where we're at currently. It kind of with a you can't ignore or forget about Orwell's 1984, of course, and what he warned us of, and the Brave New World angle to it. It really, I think, they all have a role in where we currently find ourselves. That they've
yeah,
influenced the current state of affairs. I would argue.
yeah. Yeah, this is a great thing about having just 2 people. We can have a conversation rather than everybody basically getting their spot on a panel here. Yeah, so Starmer's got a lot of baggage, and oh yeah, also again, because we'll be covering the rape gang thing. Starmer was the Starmer was running block and preventing all the information from these gangs out. And by just giving you a heads up, I got a lot of video content on the grooming gangs, including one that has Tommy Robinson in it. I know you had said you had an issue with him, but I mean,
Oh no, not no, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like there are some good things that he stands for, clearly, but let's not forget, you got to remember that there's also ask yourself where does he get his funding from, and just how deep does this rabid support for Israel go, and isn't that a conflict of interest? Like it's the same as with the U.S.
Mhm.
I guess what is it, America or Israel first? And that's where things are at right now. It's really not. It's not going in a good direction, frankly, especially given the fact of with the hundreds of millions of dollars that uh, Sheldon Adelson's, is it Miriam? Is that her? I think her first
Yeah,
name. That she's she helped in support of Trump's recent presidential campaign. And then you've got there's major payback that is owed there, and it's highly problematic. It's
oh
and
yeah,
it's
it
it's
is.
it's not good, man. But
I know, and you get Netanyahu's interference in the Iran Hormuz situation as well.
well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
that
and yeah,
exactly.
we don't want to be again. No, that's not the center of the topic. I'm going to go with Kelso's take on that whole situation, and he said it perfectly. I stand with the people of Israel. I stand with the people of Palestine. Both of their respective governments can go to hell.
Ah,
That's
yeah, well,
Kelso's take.
yeah, and that's what the Iranian people apparently, when they chant "death to America," that's what they really mean. They mean death to the Epstein class, and where we currently find ourselves, the agenda that they're pushing, this World War Epstein, and that's that. Clearly, it's the cat's out of the bag. Frankly, I don't know, talk about it, but it's the elephant in the room. Trump's role in all this, and I think it gets pretty dark and pretty ugly, as much as we may want to think otherwise. That it's just there's a day of reckoning coming, and I think he's going to actually either be killed or die in office or be removed in through some political maneuvering. The third year, this and that's according to a biblical. I think it's a biblical prophecy, actually, with assuming that Trump is the beast of the apocalypse. I'm not a big kind of Bible
I don't.
guy, but it's crazy, man. It is like getting
Well, I
shot
mean,
in the ear like that as he was, and the whole
yeah,
world
here's
marveling.
yeah. Yeah, the thing about
Crazy.
Trump is that MAGA is basically on the back nine. And I mean,
It's
I keep
finished.
reminding
Yes.
it's on the back nine. He's only got 2
Yeah.
years left. Like, I mean, yeah, there is
Well,
probably going to be a Republican. There's got to be a Republican replacement for Trump in 2028. But MAGA as a concept, that reminds me, I'm going to have to go out and get a couple of MAGA hats, put them in plastic, and stick them in a storage locker because they might actually be worth something down the road. Um,
you're
anyway, yeah.
joking.
Oh no, they're gonna be collectible items, just like political pins from various presidential campaigns throughout
Yeah,
history.
yeah.
They're
I
collectibles.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean,
So,
I'm not gonna wear the MAGA hat because I'm
yeah.
not a MAGA guy. But I mean,
Right.
buy 2 or 3 of those MAGA caps, keep them in their plastic containers, and throw them in a storage container.
Mhm.
And bring them out. Bring them out in 10 or 15 years, and they might be worth something as
Uh,
collectibles.
it's a good point. And just to let listeners know, because they've been so far and few between, we're going to do a news stream this coming Thursday here in Korea, 12 noon. That'll be Wednesday, 11 p.m. in the evening, of course, back uh, in the West. So what is that? 10? If 11 on the East Coast is 10 in Alberta, or 9?
I
Maybe
am not.
9
I'm sure. Yeah. Anyway, is that going to be Wednesday? Because if you can't do
Wednesday
Wednesday,
night. No. That's Wednesday night. See, no, we'll be fine because your 500th show will
on
be
the 15th, probably
well.
15th
Okay,
of my
well,
day. It'll be the 14th of your day. So
yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that behind the scenes, I guess. But one thing I was going to share with you here, we could, because I see there's a screen share option, is just a quick rundown of some of the talking points that we have that we've been collecting or curating to this point. If you're, we could just do like 2 minutes if you're down with that. It's before we
okay, yeah,
close
sure.
off here
Well,
tonight.
okay, and then we do it, and then we're gonna, like I say, one of the things that's changed
Mm-hmm.
is that I do this for editing purposes. There's a musical interlude between each of the topics. That
Cool.
way I can, if it ever comes to the point where I can have to isolate each, if I have the time, which I don't right now, but I can take the topic and I can put it in and I can edit it. I can remove it and not have to like go through yards and yards of footage to find the exact moment because there will be that musical interlude. So yeah, there's going to be a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a musical interlude, but yeah, take it away and then we'll get on to the next topic.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna do it now. I was gonna save it maybe like for in a few minutes we could try just a quick preview kind of teaser. I'll bring the file up here and we can do a screen share. So, and I'm sure we got a bit of overlap as well. So, what was your next talking point though,
Oh,
or do you want to?
topic was the grooming gangs. We're going to have a musical interlude first. So, so we're going to go to the musical interlude. The current musical interlude is going to be Coherence Curve. I believe that's by Roger. Roger Hansen composed a bunch of music for me here. So here we go. There's the logo for Jeffy Writer's WPRPN. And Coherence Curve is up, and that's about 4 minutes and 56 seconds. And then you can do your thing, and then we can get into the topic.
Sick
Okay, Jaffe, are you ready to go?
Yeah, sure. I guess I just got to continue with the screen sharing and take it from there. So, how long were you planning on running the show?
Well, I have 6 topics. It depends on how much we end up talking about them. The first
Okay.
topic we went on a little bit longer than I was expecting.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
have to drop out, I mean, like I say, I'm getting used to doing these by myself now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
do you have so if you can if you I don't know if you can screen share it on my screen, but if you have the sound, I can put
Well,
it up that way.
no, no, no. It's already on the screen. Well, I see. Well, hang on. Stop. No, I'm doing screen share. It's not. You can't see it for some
No, I
reason.
can't see it. Well, I mean,
That's.
there's
It
been
says
some.
no. It says it's sharing, and I. What the hell?
Hold
It's
on a second here. Let me just take a look. Maybe it's
maybe you have to stop on your end. I think maybe. How about that? Okay, try that.
stop. You mean what do you mean by
Stop sharing your screen.
how do I do that?
Well, you know how you started, right? Didn't you
Yeah.
click share screen to begin with?
Oh, hold on a second here. Let me put you up.
Right.
Let's see if I can't get
Yeah.
you up. No. Oh, wait, there it is. There it is.
Well,
There it is. Okay, it's yeah, well, it's
you are sharing another application window. Well, we're sharing on this end, but I think because you did not stop yours first, because what we're seeing here is your slideshow roll around, right?
yeah, hold
So
on a
you
second.
you've got
Can
to
I
you have to end that.
how do I
Not this.
end that?
Well, do you have OBS? How do you have the screen? Where did you get those pictures? How did you
Oh,
load them?
I have to download them off the
Okay.
net, and then I
Well,
upload
right.
them up
Yeah.
add them in as background.
Yeah, you loaded them
Yeah, hold on.
into.
Can you send it to me via Teams, and then I can do it that way?
Yeah, I guess we could do that. That's one way of. Let me see.
It would be a little bit longer. We'd have to do it on the next topic, but yeah, you could maybe send it to me via Teams,
All right.
and then
Just
I
take 2
can.
seconds here. So what other topics did you have in mind then as we're kind of multitasking here?
Okay,
What else
so
were you.
we'll get into topic number 2 here. Oh yeah, we're talking about the grooming gang situation.
Well,
I have multiple videos on this one, so
let
you've actually got
yeah.
time to do some stuff in the background, like
Well,
send it to me, and
let
I can
me
upload
ask
it.
you this, my fair feathered friend, via Edmonton, Alberta. I mean, the UK is one thing, but we're both Canadian. Shouldn't we care a little bit more about what's happening via the home front and how
Yeah.
we're essentially watching the Kalergi plan being implemented?
Oh,
Uh,
I did a full Canada episode. Sometimes
there's got to be grooming gangs in Canada, surely.
oh, there we have got some I mean, we have this is one of the rare episodes I've got where there isn't any Canada content.
Okay, so the file we just shared it with you via Teams. I think we heard a little
Yeah,
notification.
I'm actually waiting for Teams to boot right up as we are as it is. And
I
by the
see.
way, I got multiple videos, so I will have time to maybe extract it and put it on to the put it on. But yeah, here we go. We've got a whole bunch of grooming. We're going to start out with Operation Hexagon, which, oh, by the way, was also done by the Starmer government. This is a minute and 14.
Well, and don't forget, it's not just it's also cops and the judiciary, and many of them are Freemasons.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that I've been calling for, as many have for quite a few years, is transparency. Anytime you are a public servant, even like military, police, judiciary. I mean, if you're a lawyer, that's a little different, but a lot of them are Freemasons too. Let's not forget that there be that transparency, and that you ought to be required to declare your membership in any secret fraternity or organization
Mhm.
along those sort of lines, and because it, if only because the question naturally arises, like, where do your true loyalties lay? I would say,
Exactly.
you know, I would say lie,
Exactly.
but that might.
Anyway, yeah, so this is Operation Hexagon,
Uh-huh.
also done by the British government.
Right.
I had heard it drop a couple of them, but this is the first time I had somebody actually explain it to me. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is about a minute and 14, and I got 3 other videos on top of that. So I've got
Oh,
time. I
oh, you want
got
to?
time to
Okay.
extract. I got about 4 videos to play, so we got time to
Okay.
extract this photo. All right. So here we go.
Operation Hexagon.
Okay.
Remember that name? Because while children in Oldham were being groomed and abused, what was the priority? Not hunting the predators, not protecting the victims. Instead, a police operation was launched that critics say targeted whistleblowers and people exposing the scandal. A joint effort involving Greater Manchester Police, Oldham Council and Labour figures. Think about that. The people raising the alarm found themselves under scrutiny while the gangs carried on destroying lives. And here's the question nobody in the mainstream media seems eager to ask. Why has Operation Hexagon received so little attention? Where were the front pages? Where were the prime time investigations? Where was the public outrage? At the time, Andy Burnham was Mayor of Greater Manchester. People deserve answers about who knew what, who authorised what, and why exposing the scandal appeared to be becoming a bigger priority than stopping it. If we're serious about justice, there can't be one rule for whistleblowers and another for those who failed vulnerable children. Because covering up failure is never justice, it's accountability.
Okay, and then the next one is from a woman by the name of Bridget. It runs about a minute and 46 seconds. So here we go.
Oh, you thought the Epstein files were bad. Let me introduce you to the Grape Gang Inquiry Report. Over 200 pages of literature hell. Some details we already knew, but in reality, it's so much worse than we thought. Bear in mind, the UK government wants to arrest me for talking about this, so trigger warning aside, let's get into it. In this document, you'll find that over 250,000 young white British girls were subjected to grape, gang rape, trafficking, torture, pregnancies, forced abortion, forced conversions to Islam, and all-around trauma. As young as 11. 11. These men called the victims white trash and kafar, infidels. Little girls were raped with broken glass bottles. It gets worse. Doctors, nurses, social workers, and schools didn't act. They discharged the victims back to the abusers, didn't take their claims seriously, and excluded them instead of protecting them. Some of these girls contracted STDs and eyes that are incurable and for life, as well as PTSD and trauma, which will probably be generational. Welcome to Kir Starmer's Labour Party, where we protect the rapists and jail the victims for reporting the assaults. 84% of the men involved in this barbaric grooming gang are Pakistani. 87% have distinctively Muslim names. The top leaders in these gangs were inbred mongrels, like Arshid Hussain and Mohammed Zahid, both Pakistani Muslims, allegedly. Again, Labour covered this up. We have to vote them all out. It's the same government that banned Joey Monarino, Ada Lurch, and me from speaking at a recent rally. So if you can stomach it, read the report and let me know what you think should happen to those involved. Support the channel by following and sharing this video to as many people as possible. And if you really love what I do, there's a coffee donation link in bio. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, yeah, Jaffe. You need to send me that photo, the one you were going to share as background. You need to send me that one, please.
Well, I just sent
Hello?
the. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Hello?
Hang on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You need to send me that photo.
The cat was crawling all over me here, pushing my buttons as he. This man dude. He's the fat little.
Yeah, you got about 6. Yeah, you got about 6 minutes here. So I got a 2 minute and 40 second video by Liz Wheeler. So you got time to send it.
We sent a Word file. What picture are you talking about? There's a Word with it. This is outlining
the reports
rundown of all the.
Okay.
Essentially, so the
check Word team, file. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I think.
Okay, it says which VoIP link. Okay, there's no link.
That's here. That's the studiorumble.com link that you shared via Teams. We're here now and we're in, so that's fine. We use Jitsi actually, although Sonya Galactic are, sometimes the co-host and lovely merchandise designer, among other things.
Okay, did you?
galacticfire.com. Check it out,
Yeah.
folks. But
So you had a photo. You had a background photo you wanted to send me.
no,
You
no,
need to send me
no,
that photo.
no,
Don't.
no,
No.
no, no. I wanted to get a background set up here so I could get on camera, but there's no option for that. They don't
No.
allow you to set up a background. It's kind of weird. This is only, I don't understand why they don't do that. So it's
Okay. Well, I still got. Oh yeah. Okay. Then we'll just have to do it again some other time. All right. I got 2 more videos here to play through, and then we can get into the
sure.
topic.
Okie doke.
The reports of gangs of Muslim men in the UK who targeted young girls, who sexually assaulted them and abused them and raped them. What was compelling was the account of how that had been allowed to happen. The choices, the behavior of politicians who not only turned a blind eye to what was happening to these young girls in Britain, but actually enabled it. That would be the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who is a Muslim himself. The Prime Minister of England, of course, is Kir Starmer. These men both played a significant role in allowing this abuse to continue. The mayor, Sadiq Khan, London mayor, he at first, when he was asked publicly about these allegations, said that it was fake, that they were false allegations. And he turned it around and he blamed the victims and falsely accused them of being politically motivated, essentially of falsely accusing Muslims of doing this because, I don't know, they were Islamophobic or something. Despite the fact that the London mayor had access, as London mayor, had access to documented evidence proving that this was happening. You can see this in the report. As stated earlier, the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, repeatedly insisted there were no grooming gangs operating in the city. He described evidence from whistleblowers as politically motivated. He told the London Assembly that child sexual exploitation in the capital is a, quote, far more complex matter and does not fit the grooming style patterns on display across deprived northern towns. A Daily Express investigation revealed that Khan had access to the HM Inspectorate, that's documents from the police, detailing the very patterns of offending he had denied. Khan read these files, yet continued to deny the existence of grooming gangs in public. He read the files. And then we have the Prime Minister, Kir Starmer. While Kir Starmer was the Director of Public Prosecutions, it has been reported that 13,000 suspected rape gang members and pedophiles were let off with warning letters. He deliberately let off the gang rapists and pedophiles with a rude letter, a warning letter. To see in this report the complicity of the politicians.
All right, and we got the one with Tommy Robinson here. This is 3 minutes and 48 seconds.
Your days are numbered. And no, I don't think so. When you see lots of things happened and lots of things failed here, police failed, government failed. Do you know who else failed? We failed. As a nation, we failed. Now, we lost morality, we lost faith, we lost culture, we lost the church, we lost Jesus, we lost our belief, we lost everything, our identity. And that wasn't a mistake. The church, all these things, what I'd say is a successful left-wing revolution. Open border mass immigration, attack the church, attack the family, feminize the man, weaken the man. All these things have happened. Now that left a void, and in that void filled all these barbaric ideas. Yeah, but we as a nation, if we had pride, we wouldn't let any of this happen. As men, we wouldn't let it happen. So we lost ourselves. Yeah, we lost ourselves. Now, what Kir Starmer and what I think people should be looking at Britain and realizing is Britain's been asleep for 30 years. Britain was paralyzed through fear. Our leaders, but not just our leaders, all of us were. When I started, Benny, you've got my name there as Tommy Robinson. Yeah, my name's not Tommy Robinson. My name's Stephen Leonard. But I used a fake name because I was scared. I wore a mask because I was scared. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to be in that position. So I understand the fear that the public had because I had that fear. I knew they're going to attack you. They're going to want to kill you. I understood the problems of taking on Islam because I'm born in Luton. I get it. Yeah. What I didn't understand was the British state and the lengths it would go to and the dark side of the British state and how corrupted it was. So, but what Keir Starmer's government and what the globalists or the elite, whatever word you want to come to for them, need to understand is that a cultural revolution is happening in Britain. A political revolution is happening. People are finding faith. They're finding identity again. Men are becoming strong. Men are meeting. There's a lot happening, Benny, outside of this that I'm watching, and I've waited 15 long bloody years for. Yeah,
please.
I've waited 15 long years for this moment, and I'm looking at it happening. You mentioned before we had millions on the streets. All of these things, unfortunately for us, as a nation that was asleep, all these things had to happen. Like I say in America, you needed Joe Biden for 4 years, yeah, to be able to elect Donald Trump with a mandate where the public support the change that's needed to be brought in. Yeah, and we need all this. So Keir Starmer, his days are numbered. Nationalism, patriotism, whatever word you want to come to for it, is accelerating. It's a fire that they're not going to be able to put out. But again, until we get justice, as in until every man, police officer, because none of them have been prosecuted. They've all swanned off with their pensions. But not just that. Out of the 200 rapists in Telford, 11 were prosecuted. So how many have been let off in different towns and cities all over the nation? Every rapist must be prosecuted, but not to be prosecuted. We don't want them here. They need to leave. The community that allowed this to happen needs to leave. Every family member that knew their brother, cousin, because what you have to understand is that this hasn't been frowned upon. The community support them. So when they go to court, these rapists, all their wives and that are in court supporting them. They don't, like a paedophile would get kicked out of the community, driven out of the community. Not this. This isn't paedophilia to them. This is accepted. This is okay because it's non-Muslim girls. You've already looked at it. The biggest question, it started off as Asian grooming gangs. We managed to get it to Pakistani grooming gangs. We've now managed to get it to Muslim rape gangs, Islamic rape gangs. Yes, the majority are Pakistani because the majority of Muslims in the UK are Pakistani. But I went through the figures of where they're from. They're from Iraq. They're from Afghanistan. Do you know the Somalian gang? Because there's a Somalian gang in Bristol. He said in court it was his religious duty to do this. So I've gone through.
Anyway, so what has been going on here? And this has been going on for a while. There has been an open suppression of this particular topic for a few years now. Where are the photos?
They're okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
You're a racist.
Who, me?
Yeah. You're a racist.
Oh, okay. Sure. If you want to, if
you're Islamophobic.
Oh.
I bet you're probably transphobic too, aren't you?
Yeah, well, if you think that keeping not having transgenders have access to kids is transphobic, then yeah, transphobic all the way.
No, just kind of in support of what you were touching on there, regarding the whole. See, that's what they do, and that's one of the talking points that we've got, is we often, like to hit upon during our news streams of what was over the past 10 years or so, World Pirate Radio News on a weekly basis. This anti-Semitism term, it's utterly meaningless, intellectually dishonest, and offensive to the real Semites. The majority of whom are not Jewish. If you mean hatred of Jews, then say it. But don't say anti-Semitic, because it's vague. It doesn't mean anything. It's been weaponized. It's great if you want to use it for propaganda purposes and as a means of shutting down conversation, like what you're talking about here. It's just people throwing out these ad hominem attacks, saying, someone's, just accusing people of being this or that, some sort of pejorative category or label that they're trying to pin on them, portray them in a negative light. So, as Islamophobic once again, or what have you, right? But yeah, I mean, it's a huge problem, and it's there's not enough being done about this. So, I mean, I would do more myself if I was in a position where I could. This is the best that I can really seem to muster, given the fact that I'm here living in isolation, exile, essentially.
Yeah,
Via
well, I mean,
South Korea.
there was a video that I saw very recently. Japan has basically, well, because they've got basically an equivalent of Margaret Thatcher right now as Prime Minister of Japan.
Uh-huh.
They have really tightened down on allowing Muslim immigrants into Japan.
Yep.
And
Building
I mean,
of
I can't.
mosques, public prayer, like blocking roads 5
Yeah.
times a day or whatever it is that they do. So
Yeah, they've really cracked down on it in Japan. And it's like, I mean, again,
Yeah.
Britain has the British people, with all of their flaws, they have a culture that is noted for its. I gotta point out, man. I mean, the British were one of the first countries to actually, and they actively were patrolling and trying to prevent the European slave trade. They were one of the first countries in Europe to actually ban slavery. And I mean, so they got a long history, and of course, right after World War II, you know, they had soldiers that were serving in England that were only supposed to be over there temporarily, and they ended up staying. The thing is, the kids of those Indian soldiers and those other soldiers from those other countries that were in Britain at the end of World War II, their kids are, and you can tell the difference even in North America, like second and third generation Sikhs in North America. Like you
Sikhs
can
are
tell,
great. I love the Sikhs.
yeah, you can tell the difference between somebody who is like been I think like an Americanized, like a North Americanized Sikh,
Yeah,
versus somebody that's just come over from India. Like you can tell the difference almost immediately.
They're not crapping out on the streets is one thing you can.
Oh yeah, I saw a
Someone taking
video.
dump in the public park. Then
Oh, I saw a video on Rebel News just today.
it's
They
right
caught
off the boat.
they caught a woman taking a shit in a public park, and it's like the public parks in Canada usually have like bathrooms or porta potties, right?
Mhm.
You know, but getting back to this issue, I mean, like this has been an ongoing thing. I mean, a lot of people have forgotten, for instance, about that event at the end of New Year's Day of 2016, where they had that mass Tara Rouge event in Germany. You know, that's otherwise known as the rape game, that they broke up, and they haven't done it again. But there was a guy in Scotland, I can't remember his name at the time, but he did a video that got him into very serious trouble because what he pointed out, and this is the thing about the Tara Rouge rape game, is that you need the cooperation of multiple men to do it, right? So what happened in Cologne that on January the 1st, 2017, had to have been planned out ahead of time because there were multiple women that got hit all around the same time, right? Which meant that they had to sit, like somebody somewhere had to sit and mass coordinate that event. Right?
Not familiar with this. Can you lay it out a little more in detail for us?
Okay, Tara Rouge, otherwise known as the Muslim rape game. So what that is that you will get a group, usually between 15 and 20 Muslim men. What they will do, and there was a British reporter that almost fell victim to this in Egypt during the Silent Spring, is that they will go out in a group and they will find a woman or two, and what will happen is that there will be 3 or 4 guys that will actually do the sexual assault, and what there will be is that there will be a wall around the event, and then there will be another wall outside of that, which will basically, they'll make noise, they'll cause distraction, whatever, right, to distract away from what's going on.
How many times has this been documented?
The one in Cologne happened on January 1st, 2017, but it's been documented happening in the Middle East a lot. There was a British reporter.
Egypt. That's right.
And there was a British reporter during the October, I think it was the October Revolution or what it was, and she was
Right.
reporting at this one scene and what ended up happening to her, because they love doing it to Western women for some reason, is that they actually started crowding in on her, and there just happened to be a couple of Egyptians in the crew who had heard about what was going on, and they looked at the two guys that they had with as security for her, and you need to get her out of there now because they're setting up for Tara Roosh. And even they barely got in there on time. Like, she was being groped, and they were trying to already take some of her clothes off when their security was able to get in there and remove them. So, and this was 20. Oh, that was, I think that was 2013 or 2014 when that happened. So, I mean, you had all of this, and then you just had story after story, and not just in Britain, but everywhere, about these grooming gangs and the government's well, I mean, we could get into the globalist angle on this. The native population, for multiple reasons, they're not having kids, so they're bringing in this population to solidify the tax base, not so much for ethnic replacement, although that is probably one of the aims as well, but to solidify the tax base, because and this is what's happening in Japan, right? The population is aging out, and the population in Japan and in South Korea too, from what I understand, is going to
Sure.
start to plummet in the next few years, right? And
It has been making somewhat of a recovery though, as of late. Not in a big way, but it has you know it has changed its trajectory
yeah,
as compared to
well,
how.
they need to change their, because, like, I mean, yeah, their population. Yeah, it was basically, there were some estimates that the population in South Korea was only going to be about half of what it was in about 40 or 50 years.
Well, what we got, I would say top of the list, frankly, are governments that are failing because of the corruption, essentially, and the inability to properly do their job.
Well, that's exactly what's going on in Britain, right?
And they're targeting, what they're doing is they've weaponized the government against the general population in almost what is becoming more and more dystopian, totalitarian, and extreme. It's like the worst case scenario. They continue to amp things up. The technocracy agenda, the singularity, which is really, it's a faux singularity, because as I see it, we're born into the singularity. Actually, we're born out of the singularity. We just and emerge and appear in this time space continuum, to the point where when we pass away, we basically just return home, which never did leave us throughout the course of our lives, every step of the way. So they are, trying to impose a faux, largely technocratic, spirited singularity upon people, imprint upon our consciousness, and right down to every last little nanoparticulate, with the full spectrum dominance approach and agenda. So, yeah, but and I hold governments accountable, that they're just not, they're failing. They're not doing their jobs, well, they are, but there's they're not doing, they're not serving the interests of the common, ordinary, um, kind of middle class citizen. It's more geared toward the power elite, frankly. Money, the banks, media, military, and mafia is the way our friend Kaiser put it. Essentially, he didn't include the organized crime angle, but obviously it's the underworld has huge influence on the state of political affairs wherever you are in the world. So, but there we go. So if you follow if you can kind of
Yeah,
Total
I'm
kind of
actually
thought.
getting along. I totally get where you're coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, here the whole thing is that you know, again, we're talking when we start talking about Project Hexagon. I mean,
yeah,
openly
crazy.
attempting, like, I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
250,000 girls. They tried to sweep that under the rug,
And
right? And
then,
I'm like,
yeah,
wow.
punishing the people that that did what they could in holding the bastards accountable. That is just that is pretty damn evil, basically. There's
Yeah,
something
no, it's
clearly wrong. There's something that's not right there. It's severely, you know,
yeah, like
broken.
no wonder Starmer had to step down. Anyway, yeah, and they're still trying to bury this. That like the mainstream
Hmm.
media over in Britain is still trying to bury this
Well,
story. And it's like, wow. I'm like,
you need more distractions, basically, is what it is. Like with what Trump has done, with the
yeah,
whole Epstein business. Like, shit, we got it. Like, okay, okay, we're at war with Iran now, so it's like, forget about all this Epstein stuff. That you
yeah,
have to shift the focus and control the narrative,
yeah.
right?
Yep. By the way, yeah, I don't know if you saw the message on Teens. There is the next topic is a Canada topic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think you'll
Uh,
find this one rather
uh,
interesting
let
too.
me finish before we get to that, and it might segue. I haven't seen it yet, but who knows? Peace, order, and good government. You're aware of those being, I'm presumably you're aware of the three
Oh,
founding,
I'm Canadian. I absolutely know what those mean.
yeah, of Canada as a confederacy, which I guess it's a little different than a federalist kind of relationship or alignment, the way that they have things set up. So at the border, but where it's life, liberty, and property, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness originally was the right to private property, and they did away with that, which is quite interesting, especially when you consider how the end goal uh, to the whole communist agenda is the abolishment of all private property, total nullification.
Well,
And you will own nothing and be happy. But just to finish the point, life, peace, order, and good government. Without good government, we're having this crisis in government, and the if we were to give a report card to our public servants and elected officials, I think, and I don't understand. I wish we could do that, and more just in the what is currently the form of these every election cycle, 4 or 5 year, the opportunity to vote, essentially. But that without good government, how do you expect to have peace and order? Is my question, and that that really is something I think worth reflecting upon, and just and also within the context of this as well. Alberta and Alberta succession, where is that headed? Where does it currently stand? I'm quite curious to know, because I haven't
oh,
really
we'll actually be covering that well, actually later on today. Now,
okay, all right,
we'll
all
be
right.
covering that because, like, I mean, yeah, no, the one update I can give you on that is that the judge that ordered that they don't count the signatures on the petition, that has been overruled, and they
What?
are now counting. Yeah, they had the
What?
petition, they got the signatures, they got 300,000 signatures. This despite massive interference from globalists in the Canadian
Yeah.
government and the mainstream media to do it, they still were able to get 300,000 signatures
The
despite.
right to petition government goes back. I'm not sure if it's the Code of Hammurabi or not, but certainly to the age of ancient Rome.
Yeah,
That was even, that was something that was very, common and active several
yeah.
thousand years ago. So
So
Crazy.
what ended up,
Yeah.
I'll just give you a brief update for those of you who are
Okay.
new to the show. What ended up happening, besides the cat meowing, was that they took the petitioners to court twice. First time they failed. Second time they succeeded in preventing first of all, they forced the petition to end early, but they had already gotten the signatures at that point, so it was a moot point. So then they went and they went to Election Canada with the petition, and they tried another legal challenge, and they used a Trudeau appointed judge, and they're actually able to do this. And I'm not going to get into the whole story behind it, because there was an obscure, it was supposed to be a symbolic bill that got passed, which basically recognized UNDRIP as, it was supposed to be a symbolic bill because it got unanimous consent in the House, right? And what ended up happening is that there's certain reservation chiefs, they used that particular symbolic bill, which wasn't turned out to be not be so symbolic, to block the counting of the petitions.
What's I'm sorry to jump in here, but what's UNDRIP?
UN Declaration for Indigenous People.
Oh God!
It's I don't want to get into a huge discussion about that because we'd be going way off topic. But what ended up happening is that they used this UNDRIP petition, which was supposed to be a symbolic petition, and they actually used that as law to prevent Elections Alberta from counting the petition signatures. Danielle Smith basically used her executive privilege, more or less, to say, well, there's going to be a vote in October anyway. You're not going to stop us. And
opponents were saying, Naroki, sorry, opponents were saying then that only native sentiment was was in any way had a bearing on the issue, and that anyone that was not born in this life and happened to be of, have their native ID card or whatever it is, that you just forget about how they feel about things.
They basically they used UNDRIP to basically twist things around. Very recently, and we'll be covering that on the next show, that got overturned, so they are now counting the signatures, and they know how many signatures they've got. So there is going to be a referendum in October. I don't know whether it's going to be on independence or not, but there is going to be, at the very least, there is going to be a vote to determine whether or not they're going to go ahead with a referendum or not. So that's the update on that. As for the UK Grooming Gang thing, it was pretty obvious that Kir Starmer had to resign over this. Yeah, Kir Starmer definitely played his part, but covering 250,000 white girls. And by the way, without even getting into the fact that, and you saw it on a couple of videos there, that, I mean, according to some interpretations of Islam, that was perfectly legal to do that to those girls because they weren't Muslims.
Yeah. Can you just imagine where things will be when we find ourselves living under Sharia? How much worse it'll get? It'll be at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I did a topic at some point where I believe it was talking about how Texas basically went, because they were starting to see fully cellular Muslim communities popping up in Texas, and they had fundamentalist Muslims going around to shop owners and whatnot in the state of Texas, to other Muslim shop owners, and imposing Sharia law on them. And the state of Texas just went and said, no, we got one law here, one, and it's our law. It's not your law.
How about Texas or the federal U.S. government imposing deportation law upon these people?
I mean,
ideally,
Somali. I mean, the whole situation. And I mean,
these people are kept around for in some ways, at least, for a cheap, easily exploitable labor class.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
that's exactly what they're
really
being. I mean, there's a
undercutting. Like, I hate to think, I can just imagine, because I saw the start of this when I was back in Canada with these van loads of East Indians showing up in the central interior and infiltrating the and becoming more active, freely allowed to just kind of walk right in and get busy, get to work in the tree planting, reforestation industry. So, and when I went back just this past year with the wife, it was dramatic. Things have dramatically changed in that where that continued influence was quite evident. I mean, my dad was renting out to a really, a nice young Indian couple, and we're just talking demographics now. People that are, these are working professionals, which is great, but also the pubs and corner stores that formerly had been owned by uh, people that were of European descent had now been taken over by East Indians, who
well,
you could tell was like they were not. Chances are they were probably born in India. So, and I just be really interested. Like, if you look at the immigration, how it shifted. I'm just looking at this picture of all these inbreds, and I say it
oh,
in the kindest sort of way as well. But they've all been, taken into custody, I guess. And you look at them and just the way that they're with their faces, the DNA. Oh, there is one Sikh there too. By God, look at that. But
yeah, like that. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's well, we were talking about that Sikh who stabbed that's what really we
ooh,
call it Vikram Digra. I can't remember what that
ooh,
guy's name was.
yeah,
But yeah,
it's
we
my
were talking.
religious, yeah, religious, the religious
Yeah,
freedom.
he ended up getting
He's assaulted. And he's
he
gonna.
he
He's
was
been
he he
extremely
got he got
targeted.
assaulted by a ceremonial pot of boiling sugar water
Yeah.
while he was in
Oh,
prison.
jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
he's still in, isn't he? He must
Yeah,
be.
he is. Yeah, it was a ceremonial pot of boiling sugar water that he
That
got in the
that's
face.
what it's going to
Yeah.
take. It's going to take just more of this. These incidents to because the UK, and this is something I wanted to talk about too. The first global revolution, which that's not a term that I've just invented here on the spot, but rather I think was mapped out by the Rockefeller Institute, probably the Club of Rome. Who else? I mean, they had been instrumental with the whole scamdemic and multiple. I think the man-made climate change fraud as well, which where they to demonize the carbon molecule, and then just the fear porn that's endlessly generated on that front with the fake science and just you name it. So but yeah, the first global revolution. So they're prepping for that here, and they've got their people in place, and they hold the reins of power right across the planet. Obviously, the Rockefeller family itself in America said to be a front group for the Rothschilds, according to the late great author, I believe Jim Mars is where I heard that from. I'm sure someone like David Icke would concur, but like J.P. Morgan even was a bag man for the Rothschilds back in the day. Is kind of how the story goes. So, but yeah, they've got hold the levers of power, and we'll just. I mean, we're entering into that phase right now, clearly, and just looking at this picture that you've got here, that right across the UK, these are some of the perpetrators of
Yeah,
these
you're noticing a
crimes,
pattern
man.
with all these people.
Where
Definitely.
are the whites?
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. Where are the white people
Oh,
doing
there's
this?
one guy at the bottom that looks kind of like he could be a honky. Isn't it funny too? The term honky, I always get a kick out of that. Like cracker, like like can't you come up with anything better? Like you ever see the South Park episode? What is it? A 6-letter word there was missing a vowel. It's like N, and then there's an empty space. GGER. The question was people who annoy you, or the clue. Did you ever see that one? And it was
yes, I remember it now. Yeah, I
so
remember that one.
Every time that comes up, I just say, "You bloody nagger." And people can read into that what they want. Like, who cares? It's just it's a word, and it depends on. It goes back to people's intent, but it's really quite something. Yeah. So nagger. But
anyway,
yeah.
So we could go on this one, but we got 4 more topics to cover here. So we're gonna have the musical. We're gonna have the musical interlude here.
Keep things rolling along.
Yeah. So the musical interlude on this one is going to be 6 Wings Below. Again, thank you, Roger.
Good job on that first bit, that first production as well too. I'll have more maybe to say about AI music on the flip side, perhaps.
Yeah, AI music has been a bit of a god. It depends on how you're using it. Just AI, period, depends on how it's being used. It can be a godsend, it can be a curse, depending upon how you use it. But anyway,
do you mind if you're put out of work? You're thrown into the unemployment lines because of AI?
It's not. I mean, my job, it's not going to matter.
Robotics?
No, it's not robotics for me. If you work in robotics, yeah, I work.
I know security, right?
Yeah, I do security. The site I work at. You can't use AI for that. So
you could use a robot, I'm sure.
They might be able to use a robot, but I mean, robots would be damaged for doing this particular job I've got. Probably not really worth the time and the effort, at least not currently anyway.
Look, I'm going to go hang up the laundry too while you cue this up, but I'll try to stick around.
You got about you got about 5 minutes. So anyway,
if I'm not back, don't freak out. I'll just jump in when I'm finished the laundry. So talk to you soon.
All right. So we're going to go on to the next topic here. Once again, thank you very much, Roger, for your music. We're going to be doing 6 Wings Below again by Roger Hansen.
Nobody cares. Dragons in myth, watchers in stone, old gods wearing heaven's throne. They say chosen, I say scarred. Every vision hits too hard.
never end.
Oh, looks like Jaffe has disappeared for now. Okay, so we have got another topic here. This one involves well, yeah, it's one of those ones where you're like, yeah, there's just something really, really suspicious about this. Jaffe might be jumping back in here, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, we're talking about the Montreal Shooter. Now, this is a very, very interesting individual. That's the photo of the guy right there. I've got a bunch of videos about this. Yeah. Really, really weird. I'll get into the story and the videos will kind of sum it up. The first one is going to be about the actual events of, yes, you will see. I don't think you'll see the cop actually getting shot, that getting killed in it, but you will see the actual shooter himself getting shot, getting killed here. So here we go.
I think he's hit. No, he's hit. He's hit. No, il est touché. Il est touché. Oh, he's down. Oh, he's down. They're going to start shooting over here, Steve. That's cops. That cop's gone. Look. He's there, Mick. Attention, balle perdue, arrive.
Okay, this next one is about the summary. This is a very interesting one, but yeah, let's go.
So the manifesto for Seth Hatfield just dropped. Everybody's framing it in their own political ideology, but I'm going to summarize everything for you just like it was written.
I said, let's go.
So the manifesto for Seth Hatfield just dropped. Everybody's framing it in their own political ideology, but I'm going to summarize everything for you just like it was written. Male isolation and male loneliness is one of the common themes you see in this manifesto and pretty much every male manifesto, where men have no mission or purpose in life, nothing to do, right? And that's really important for a man, right? You need to have a goal to achieve, right? To keep you busy, to make you feel, you could say, worthy. And he blames pretty much society for that, and mostly the West. The next thing he mentions is obviously being an incel, right? And he blames hypergamy for that. So hypergamy is the natural tendency for women, regardless of what they look like, right? Women in general, to date across and up dominance hierarchies, which means that they want the most successful, attractive men, and the most successful and attractive men have their pick of the litter, you could say, with women, where the men like him that are suffering from this loneliness, that are deemed as losers, never get any women, right? So that was another theme of this. Then we have a strong critique of capitalism, right? And kind of saying that this is the root cause for all this social inequality, you can say. It's just commodifying relationships, destroying communities, and really a pro-communist vibe. Another big thing is anti-Semitism, right? Refers to a Judeo-bourgeois class, right? Zionist influence on finance, media, politics. He calls it pervasive, and corrosive. And obviously related a big conspiracy framing to the whole thing, right? So, and remember, the attack took place in a Jewish neighborhood. And then he ends with pretty much a call to violence. Be unwavering and kill them all. So he obviously targeted police, the system, porn industry figures, right? So remember, he actually drove to this location. His manifesto was handed out before time, and it makes sense about the area he attacked, right? It synthesized his grievances into a location, hitting multiple ideological targets, porn HQ, Jewish area, plus a police response, right? Now, keep in mind, the manifesto is from some rambling guy who's obviously insane, but I wanted to summarize everything for you.
Now, this last one is really interesting. I don't know if Jaffe's back yet, but yeah, here we go.
The idea that's being sold to us in the media is that he came from Alberta, he hated women, he went to Montreal with the most popular rifle in Canada, shot a police officer at the time where the gun ban ain't working after the challenge has been accepted by the Supreme Court, after C9 was just passed. Yeah, no, I don't believe this for a second. It would be too perfect of a coincidence.
You're making a really good point there. If you were trying to set it up in an argument in the Supreme Court and your goal was to kind of crack down jurisdictionally on Alberta, this would be exactly what you would need. You need to protect women, you need these guns off the street. Montreal's already been terrorized, and Alberta is to blame for this one because you guys didn't remove these firearms from this person for whatever reason. It's difficult for me to go down the PSYOP path without more evidence, but look, MK Ultra.
Yeah, so don't know if Jaffe's back yet, but if he's even going to come back. So what happened in this particular situation? A guy by the name of Seth Hatfield drove from Lethbridge, Alberta to Montreal, targeted, well, because I happen to know this, there is a very large porn operation out, and I know this because I read his manifesto. There's a very large porn operation based out of Montreal. It also just happens to be in a Jewish neighborhood. Not saying that the Jews are big into the porn industry, but I mean, anything media related, it doesn't seem to matter whether it's adult or non-adult. They seem to have a substantial amount of influence across the board there. What was really peculiar about this guy is that he just happened to tick all the boxes, like all of them, right? White, allegedly, when it first came out, conservative, an incel, apparently, misogynist, and of course, right, you saw that last video. There was a very really strange timing on that particular event. And what ended up happening is that there's is that, I mean, he did this and he targeted the police, and he targeted Jewish businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Jaffe's not here to talk about anti-Semitism or whatever, but I mean, what ended up it was not the perfect guy to commit the perfect hate crime at the perfect time. I mean, you couldn't have written this particular event in Montreal any better than how it was written up. You have a white guy who drove. Here's the thing. I mean, if you wanted to target the Jewish community, there is a substantial Jewish community in Calgary, right? Less than an hour, a little over an hour away from Lethbridge. And it's not so much, and that was just really weird to start right off the top. Then there was the way that the media and the powers that be in Montreal ran with this event after the fact. First of all, they had multiple talking heads, specifically on CBC and CTV, come in and say, oh, well, he's they said extremist. They didn't acknowledge what he actually was. In fact, there was only one report. There was only one interviewer that actually openly acknowledged from the manifesto that he did appear to be communist. And they tried to accuse him of being a communist incel, which is, I mean, not particularly, but I mean, it's the way that the manifesto got released that really got people suspicious about this event. They were pushing this hard. Seth Hatfield is an incel. Seth Hatfield is a MGTOW, even though, by the way, those two particular branches of the manosphere don't really have very much in common at all. Seth Hatfield is a white supremacist, blah, blah. And it was like all really neatly falling into place. And of course, it was only the bought and paid for media that actually had copies of his manifesto first. Then Rebel News. And by the way, say what you want to about Rebel News. I got some very mixed opinions about Rebel News, and they shared it with some of the independent news outlets. Turns out that, yeah, while he is a white male from Alberta, he's not a far-right agitator. He's a full-blown communist. He uses the word proletariat multiple times in his thing. He's very anti-corporation. Like, it turns out his parents are actual university teachers, so they're left of center. And the whole narrative, and I got to point out, for about 24 to 48 hours, they were pushing this narrative about Seth Hatfield, like, big time, right? Because they've been looking for this type of a guy to go out and commit this type of a crime in the West, in Canada, the US, for excuse me, they've been looking for somebody like that to commit a crime like this for a few years now, and it just ever so conveniently, and it was extremely convenient, that this just happened to happen. And it was, and it might not have sent up the signal flares like it would have had the authorities just simply allowed the entire press to have the manifesto. But no, instead the authorities release it to the bought and paid for media first. Rebel News had to use clandestine sources to get a copy of the manifesto. Once the independent copy of the manifesto came out, and once it got released, then it started getting it. Then the whole narrative, the narrative, because again, I got to point out, the independent media now is as big, if not bigger, than the mainstream media at this point. Like, like simply releasing something, having control of the mainstream media just doesn't have the same impact that it used to. And what ended up happening here is that, once it got out, the whole narrative, again, right? Because what this was like, this was an attempt to try to dictate the narrative, because it was like, yeah, you had the province of Alberta, you had a white male with a rifle targeting the Jewish community and targeting the porn community and targeting the police, right? At a very, very convenient convenient time for the Canadian government. And it was like, yeah, and very clear that they were attempting to control the narrative here. And, I didn't really I thought even within 24 hours of this event occurring that there was just something off about it. And it wasn't until I saw that third video that I realized it's like, yeah, like there is something really off about this. Just for the record, Rebel News has, I believe I don't know if they still got it up or not, but they had the full manifesto on their Twitter page. I don't know if they still got it there, but I got it and I read it. Guy's not far right. They tried to suggest that he was far right, but it didn't really work because, well, there's manifesto, you don't use words like proletariat, for instance, if you're a far right person. That's just not that. That's a word that falls within the communist community. The whole issue here with this particular thing is, again, they were attempting to try and create a narrative here, and they almost succeeded. The only problem is that they were so ham-handed about it, and there's just so much independent media around that it's very difficult to do. Now, from the manosphere perspective, and I have to point this out because I do have a lot of followers from the manosphere in my group, you need to be paying attention to this, right? Because if this guy was actually a stool pigeon or a controlled asset or whatever and just happened to lose his shit at a very convenient time like this, and fortunately there were enough resources available and somebody in the independent media had enough resources to actually do some checking. I need to point something out to the manosphere community, to the red pill community, to even alt communities everywhere, right? Like the state, the powers that be now are, welcome back, Jeffy. Welcome back. The powers that be are perfectly willing to use brainwashed, controlled assets to smear alt communities, which include the manosphere. And again, the mainstream, the way it went down. I'll sum it up for you again, because Jaffe just came back. Seth Hatfield drove with rifles to Montreal, went to a Jewish neighborhood, specifically targeted a business, by the way, that is in the adult industry, because there is a substantial adult industry in Montreal, porn industry. Was detected while he was doing it, got confronted by the police. He killed a police officer. Another person got accidentally killed by a police officer, and he ended up dead himself. The whole situation, though, is that what happened afterwards is that the powers that be in Montreal, instead of releasing his manifesto to the press entirely, what they did is they released it to the bought and paid for press first. And they tried to push a narrative of anti-white, anti-gun, anti-Alberta, anti-manosphere, all at the same time, and they would not give the manifesto to the alt media. And then what had the Rebel News just basically used some contacts and got a copy of the manifesto within 12 hours of the event. And they had their own counter narrative going before the lie even really had a chance to get going on this. It turns out that Seth Hatfield is a hardcore communist. He's the son of university teachers, so he's not a poor. He's not a poor white boy from rural Alberta. He's a middle class kid from an academic family. He did have very, very clear from reading his manifesto that he definitely did listen to some manosphere content. I don't know which faction. I'm going to guess it was the PUA faction, but I mean, he does not mention the red pill at all. He doesn't, but he does use manosphere language. I got to point out though that the manosphere has reached the point where it's like, I mean, for instance, I found this out last year. I was talking to some kid who was at this one job site I was on, and I started using manosphere talking points with him because he was frustrated because this one girl wasn't paying attention to him. And I said about friend zone, that type of thing. And this kid knew what I was talking about. Right. So the manosphere is no longer just an online thing. So yeah, you can get a hold of this information without actually having to delve right into the manosphere. But I mean, again, right, like the mainstream media in Canada, just when they needed a person from Alberta to go and do something extreme and to engage in violence against an ethnic group and be a white male to boot, they got their narrative at almost the perfect time. And the way they handled it after the fact, where they only released his manifestos to the mainstream media, and again, the alt media had to get their copy clandestinely. Yeah, this looks like a controlled operation. This looks like a false flag. I'm not going to say it as a false flag because there's not the smoking gun there, but just a little bit too convenient of a fit, and it's also a very convenient fit because he died during the process, so he's not able to talk. So with that, Jeffy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can have your say.
So why there's a manifesto that he left behind, is that right?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay, so he then I guess to some extent expected to like a kamikaze sort of suicide mission.
Well, the manifesto didn't read like it was a long. Of course, like they always have these long, rambling manifestos. It didn't sound like he was expecting to die.
Well, that's interesting. So, and how many pages are we talking?
104.
Yeah, I heard about the incident. I didn't really look into it as deeply as it appears you have. However, it is interesting to note. My impression is that, like in Montreal, he targeted a Jewish. They were all.
He targeted a Jewish, an adult. Yeah, he had a very, very strong anti-porn opinion, which is not uncommon for people on both extremes to have.
Anti-Jewish too, I guess.
Anti-Jewish too. Well, I pointed this out, right?
Notice we didn't say Semitic, right?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, but I mean, it was like, I mean, anything media related, be it porn, any type of media, there is a very significant Jewish influence.
Overly disproportionate with the the ownership and just the representation and the presence in areas like media, academia, medicine, law.
Yeah, well, the culture
and porn, the lows, the dregs of society.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have a very, at least in North America anyway, they have a very intellectual. Not because not every Jew is in on this, but it's like there's a very strong intellectual component to the Jewish community. I know because I've been around a lot of them. There's a very strong intellectual component.
And that's because of your of course, that's because of your experience, background in the film industry, correct?
Yeah. Well,
And there we go. That's another example of where we find with arts and entertainment and finance. Let's not forget that. And, banking, of course, money lending, and what have you. But anyways, the point here with the pornography industry is that, yeah, my impression is that overly disproportionate representation as far as the production, the distribution, and the ownership. Time and again, if you kind of
yeah, there is.
follow what's
Although
going on.
I did find a video. Like, apparently, the actual kingpin of porn isn't Jewish, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. Anything media related, there's got to be a very strong Jewish
Who's
influence.
this? Who's this guy? Who are we talking on exactly?
I can't remember his name. You'll have to
Oh,
go to a YouTuber named Moon, and it's known as it's a video called "The King of Porn."
all right.
He's not Jewish,
Is
but he's definitely.
Is it a documentary?
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, Moon does do documentary style footage.
Did,
Yeah, this
did,
guy's it's
go ahead.
documentary style content. I don't know I can't remember what the name of it is right now. I could maybe look
King
it
of
up.
Porn. King of Porn.
Moon, King of Porn.
Yeah. King of Pain. Sting, of course. So King of Porn. But now it just escapes me at this particular moment. I'm not sure I don't think it was OnlyFans, or maybe it was. By God, but there's some I didn't really, pay enough attention, stop and take note of what their ethnicity or religious affiliation happened to be. But or actually, you know what it was I think, what's the biggest porn site in the world?
Well,
That they
the king of porn runs is the guy who's responsible for Pornhub.
Okay, that would be. I think this is the guy we're talking about. Then, yeah. What's his? But you can find his name, I guess. Well, we're sort of.
I'm looking for it
here.
right now. I'm looking for
Yeah.
it right now.
But, so let's then, if you can, walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, which I often struggle with. Although it's something that's well worth, I think trying to, to attempt to pull off. The wife says it contributes to early onset either Alzheimer's or dementia, that came at me from right out of left field. I'm not sure where
there's
she came up
not.
with that theory.
Yeah, that has been strongly disputed.
Oh, you've heard about that then, have you?
Oh,
Multitasking is
yeah.
bad.
Well,
Bad for you.
there is a group in the manosphere. They're not particularly respected. They're known as NoFap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they believe that you should not be
multitasking.
You should not be multitasking yourself.
Gooning. These are the Goon Squad.
Yeah, you shouldn't be multitasking yourself.
It's nasty. I'm not talking about jerking off, man. I'm talking about just doing, 3 or 4 things at the same time. Different projects that you're juggling, or just trying to get, different tasks on hand.
Yeah, I'm looking for it because he did it a while ago now. I'm trying
Pornhub, yeah. But see, and the thing is, he was called out, and I think they were shut down at some point, were they not? And anyways,
what happened with Pornhub is that there was underage content on there, and the people who were running Pornhub knew about it, but it was bringing money in. So
they were checking the driver's licenses.
Yeah, and they were looking the other way,
turning a blind eye.
They were turning a blind eye to it. Unfortunately, unfortunately for them, what ends up happening is that when it comes to the adult industry, I can't find it here. Oh, wait, no. I'm still looking for it. I'm actually at the maybe this is the thing about Moon, is that, he likes to change the name of his topics every
Is he
so often.
Korean? That's surname
No,
Moon. Is
he's
he
got
Korean?
a British accent.
Oh, might be Korean. You still might have Korean,
He might be, but I mean,
ancestry.
there's your cat again.
Here comes your friend, the kitty. I'll mute out. But let's hear a little bit more about the manifesto then, if we could.
Okay, well, the manifesto, he gets into a lot of stuff, anti-government. He started,
Anti-fapping.
and
No
well, not
fapping.
not anti-fapping, definitely anti-porn for sure. Anti-government, definitely pro-communist. He anti-corporation, really anti-corporation. He also I don't have to use the word anti-Semitic, but he definitely had a problem with the Jews. Again,
How old was this guy?
early 20s.
And what sort of background did he come from?
He is the son of, apparently, professors that were teaching at a university in Lethbridge, Alberta.
Weren't the first, you remember the Butler assassination attempt? Wasn't that character, weren't his parents said to be teachers of some sort as well?
Yeah, they were. The guy who tried to run into the press the press dinner in Washington, D.C.
No.
very recently. No.
Butler. I mean, maybe it's the same thing with the
Oh
guy.
yes, the guy in Butler. Yeah, he also had the parents who were very strongly left of center too.
And they tried to whitewash his whole backstory too. It seemed it was
Oh
very
yeah.
difficult. The powers that be, it's like they went in and absconded with all of his computer hard drives and everything that they could, possibly get their hands on. While it seemed like, his whole backstory really was like look at this, the fellow who allegedly was responsible for shooting Charlie Kirk, which I'm really, a lot of people are really not quite buying, because it almost seems like the theory of the clip-on mic may have, in fact, that might have been the actual weapon that was in place. This, like a James Bond kind of deal that they had Charlie wear, and then when the time arose, that the deed was done, essentially. So there's just so many things, that whole story, that don't quite add up, and all of these incidents. So, and you think this is one more, though, the shooting in Montreal, is that right? It took
Well,
place
here
just
is the
a
thing. I
month or
mean,
two ago.
they've been really pushing hard for a white right-wing male to go on a shooting spree, and the timing of this was exquisite, right? Because you have the situation that's going on in Alberta right now.
Which is what exactly?
You have the
gun grab?
separation. Yeah, you got the gun grab, you got separation, you've got all of that stuff happening in Alberta at the moment, and it's just they're looking for a they're looking for a white male to do this right now, and this guy just conveniently appears. The Hunt for the King of Porn. That's what the name of it is.
Oh, did you watch it then? And you would recommend it to others?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He is based out of Montreal. Yeah, the king of porn, the hunt for the king of porn. Moon took it off his page. I don't know why. Fortunately, I was because I can't stand YouTube. I am posted. Sorry, are you on? You're on the Rumble feed right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it up at the Rumble chat first.
Okay. Does it go to BitChute, or I mean, could a person even get it off of Pirate Bay?
Well, I mean, I have it up at my MGTOW channel, my MGTOW TV channel. In fact, I'm going to give you the link right now.
How long has that been in place?
Oh, this one? I loaded this up.
No, your
I loaded this one.
MGTOW.tv. Is that your domain, your homepage?
MGTOW.tv. Well, I mean, it is one of them. Yeah, it's my
Really?
main one. It's the one that I will load up to first. Yeah.
Well, so how long has this been in place then? Because this is the first I've ever heard of it.
6, 7, or 8 years. Okay, there you
Oh
go.
my
I'm loading it up, right? Yeah.
Well, because all we ever use, like when you're on the show, and we like to add to the show description anyone that's a part of the conversation, just a way of how people, if they're wanting to, can contact through social media. It's been your Minds URL, although we would prefer that people launch their own in-house WPRPN.com man and
well, I mean, I do have a WordPress, but again, right, I'm not big enough. I don't get enough traffic to do. I mean, WordPress is probably the best. I mean, MGTOW TV is the first place I usually go to when I'm doing video content. So yeah, it's the king of porn. Hunt for the king of porn. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay, so.
And he is based out of Montreal. They have shot content out of Montreal. I have spoken to, because I've been trying to do a bit of a digger story about the adult industry and about the mysteriously large number of deaths of porn star escorts that occurred right after Harvey Weinstein got exposed.
Wait a minute. Hold it. Porn star so they would moonlight as escorts.
Yeah, they would moonlight as escorts, and right after Harvey Weinstein got exposed,
Hollywood based.
It wasn't just female porn stars. There was a lot of male porn stars that died. A lot of them from drug. Keep in mind that there's a lot of mental and emotional issues with people in the industry in the place to begin with. But it's like, I mean, I actually started asking around about this,
right?
And here's the thing: the adult industry is very, very insular. Like trying to get someone to talk about this. There was one that I tried talking to. She told me she would tell me everything for $1,500, and I'm like, no, I don't even know if you're not even real. There's been a couple of them that have been a little bit forthcoming. Like the take that I've gotten from the two that have kind of talked about it a little bit is that they suspected that something was going on. But
with Harvey Weinstein and porn star escorts.
With the spike in death rates that occurred in the adult industry right after Weinstein got exposed.
But was it related directly to him or more just his network?
Well, I mean, probably his network. And here's the thing: it wasn't just female porn stars that were doing it. It was like there were a lot more male porn stars that died in this little event.
But that never came out, though, did it? Like nothing of his, leanings in that proclivities, I guess. Is that the word?
Well, here's the thing: when it comes to the adult industry, I mean, it's still got it will always have a bit of a taboo around it, right? The performers who work in that industry tend to be very insular and tight-lipped.
Except when they're on set, obviously.
Except when they're on set, but I mean, a lot of them won't really if you're not in the industry, a lot of them won't. And it's like, you know, they won't talk to you unless you subscribe to their OnlyFans and whatever. And I'm not going to fork out money
Right.
to go into OnlyFans to get information about something
Well,
like
a
this,
lot of them
right?
have their own podcasts as well. So why
Yeah,
don't they talk?
and
They you know.
yeah, I might add. There's one I can think of right at the bat. She might talk because she's not in the industry anymore. But yeah, that's the thing, right? He targeted the adult industry. He targeted Jews. He targeted corporations. He was targeting the government. He basically was a Seth Hatfield. They
I've heard the
tried.
name.
Yeah, he was the Montreal Shooter. They tried to
Okay.
pass him off as a far right agitator. It turns out he was like a full blown communist.
It's always that way for some reason. Like it's almost always that way. It's incredible. Like the way this, and that almost seems to indicate and suggest that these people are the product of some sort of MK Ultra.
Well, I was talking about that
sheep dipping.
Yeah, I was talking about that just before you came on. And in fact, the third video, that's literally what he said. Montreal was the base of operations for MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
It's where MK Ultra was first. Well, that's where they first originated. MK Ultra was in Montreal. That's where they first did the first experiments on it. And you know, but I mean, it's the way. I'll actually, you know what? Here, I'll play that last video again because I mean, this is the one. This is the conspiracy one. It lasts about 53 seconds, but this guy brings up a whole bunch of really curious points. So yeah, I'll play this video again so you can have a look at it.
Do that, let me just interject here briefly. Ian Carroll, I guess, is recently, regarding the Epstein controversy, come out talking about how the court, that maybe this could just be clickbait, but it's like the big question Ian Carroll interviews over on Rumble. The whole Epstein thing is blown up on Rogan. Explain. Now, is that on his show or is that like on Rogan personally? So we'll have to follow this up here. This has definitely got my attention.
Yeah, I noticed that Roger jumped in as soon as we started talking about porn chicks. Okay, but
we got him on board. Is he here? Hey, Roger.
Yeah, I sent him the link. He didn't want to jump in tonight. So anyway, yeah, this is the third of the videos, but this guy really brought some stuff home. Here, have a listen.
Sure.
The idea that's being sold to us in the media is that he came from Alberta, he hated women, he went to Montreal with the most popular rifle in Canada, shot a police officer at the time where the gun ban ain't working, after the challenge has been accepted by the Supreme Court, after C9 was just passed. Yeah, no, I don't believe this for a second. It would be too perfect of a coincidence.
You're making a really good point there. If you were trying to set it up in an argument in the Supreme Court and your goal was to kind of crack down jurisdictionally on Alberta, this would be exactly what you would need. You need to protect women. You need these guns off the street. Montreal's already been terrorized, and Alberta is to blame for this one because you guys didn't remove these firearms from this person for whatever reason. It's difficult for me to go down the PSYOP path without more evidence, but look, MK Ultra.
Yeah, so going back to the original point, white male drives to Montreal, which has a very clear counterculture component in Montreal, very obviously, and a very strong porn adult presence and a very, very, very significant Jewish presence. Storms a business that supposedly is being run by that's an adult industry thing. Shoots it out with the cops, kills one of the cops, another bystander gets killed, and he himself gets killed. And it's just, and the way, like I said, the way the media handled it afterwards, how they only released his manifesto to the bought and paid for media first, and Rebel had to kind of do an end run around the authorities to get a copy of his manifesto. And the moment his manifesto got released, that whole thing about him being a white male incel from a poor fucking family in Alberta just like literally disintegrated, because it's like, again, like his manifesto, like he uses like proletariat is only, to my knowledge, proletariat, for instance, is the only people who use the word proletariat are actual full blown communists.
Well, I mean, repeatedly, and if it's constantly framed in that way with exactly references, the working class or the bourgeois. But I mean, I use those terms from time to time just because I think they're applicable, So, but Marx himself, he was an awful piece of work. I think Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I've been finding out more about him as of late too, and just the way he treated his children, and then so it just it's hard, like separating the art from the artist, as the expression goes. But how old was this guy, this Hatfield character?
He was 22, 23. I'm not sure.
Well, was he well educated then? It sounds like he was.
He was the son apparently of university teachers.
Well, but here's the thing. Like, I'm not sure if he had any professional aspirations or not, but knowing like what he was doing, if he in fact was even in control of his faculties, in engaging in the the sort of the executing
25. He was 25. Yeah, he was 25.
Okay, doing what he did, like there can be like Manchurian Candidate, programmed assassins. It's a lot more easily done than what most people have any idea. And all you have to do is look up Darren Brown.
Oh, the Unabomber. The Unabomber.
Well, but he was that's a different story altogether. Like, well, then again, it's not, in the sense, I guess he was what the endless, like the LSD experiments that he was subjected to, and so who knows. But like they did they totally messed with his mind, obviously. But this guy, I'm wondering, my spidey sense almost seems to suggest that there's something going on with his parents, as there so often is. Like, they could not have been totally oblivious to their son's, his leanings, or where he was coming from, politically, as it were, with the manifesto and whatnot. But and don't forget, like, young people at that age, just coming out of adolescence, which is it's a difficult time in people's lives. But the parents, I just get it. I might be totally off base here, but that maybe they had agreed to sacrifice their son, to allow their son to be part of to let him be part of some program where, because we've heard about this, like via Christian Laterre and others, and he was originally Quebec based too. Let's not forget. But the parents perhaps were part of some cult of some kind, and that required their son to be sacrificed, and in this manner, potentially. I'm kind of just.
Yeah,
I'm kind of go just.
You're
it's kind of like
exactly
hypothesizing potentially.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's
we'll
like,
see.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like just it.
Like, what did the parents say? Where have the parents been on this, with this whole in the wake of what occurred?
I haven't looked into that, but I mean, again, right? It was just an extremely convenient coincidence that they just happened to have a white male from Alberta go and do this at just the right time. Right.
And why was it because of the Albertan succession movement?
Alberta, it's not just Alberta secession. It's Alberta has not.
Saskatchewan, Manitoba.
Yeah, Alberta has not been backing basically the gun seizure. There's they've gone against the they went notwithstanding on allowing transgender indoctrination in the schools in Alberta.
This could lead. Things could heat up to the point where we find Canada. I'm concerned this to the level where a potential civil war, really.
Well, I
truth
mean, the way
be
the if
told.
I mean, living here in Alberta, you know, and my birthday is July. My birthday was 5 days ago, right?
Yeah.
I was born July 1st, 1967, and
Wow.
and Rierson doesn't have that, but I mean, I'm the centennial baby for
Yeah,
for a city down in the Lower Mainland, right?
Which
And I'm like,
one is that?
Langley, British Columbia, and
Oh, cool.
you know, and and because of my legacy, right? I am in a position here where I think it is necessary for me to give the Canadian government, the Canadian people, a chance to make their case for Alberta staying in, right? And I still haven't. They still haven't given me a decent reason to stay.
Western succession has been on the table for quite some time now, as from what as memory serves. Like, we're talking over 50 years.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
been around for a while, but it hasn't
look this up.
surfaced like this in a very long time.
Well, and I would say that's large. Once again, that the blame can be placed, squarely at the feet of the Carney administration, which was inherited from Trudeau. Although, so as far as the truth of the matter is that from behind the scenes, Carney, former head of the Bank of England, was really pulling the strings when it came to the Trudeau years.
Yeah, he was
to a large extent.
Anyway,
So.
we kind of talked this one a little bit to death. There's definitely a lot of suspicious stuff around.
All right, next issue.
All right, so then we hold on a second here. Let me just go down here to this. All right, and then the next song will be where the hell is it here? Chill Calm Blog by Infraction. It's only 2 minutes, so you really only have time to run to the bathroom on this one. But yeah, we're gonna move into the Elon Musk thing, becoming a trillionaire next, which hopefully won't be that long of a topic. So here we go. Okay, so Elon Musk became the world's first trillionaire. I have a video. It's a comedy video, but I chose it because of the responses that I was seeing on social media to Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire. So here we go.
SpaceX has made me a trillionaire. Isn't that neat, Mr. Sprinkles? You can say that again. Do you need something?
I hear you have $1 trillion.
Yes, I am a trillionaire, but I don't actually have $1 trillion.
I want it!
There's no money here.
Give it to me!
Hand over the trillion, paleface! Come back with my money!
Where are you going with our $1 trillion, comrade?
I keep telling you, there is no money.
He's hiding it!
I bet he swallowed it! Let's cut him open and take it!
I don't have $1 trillion. All that wealth is in my rocket company. He said the $1 trillion is in his rocket.
Let's go get it!
Let's start smashing stuff until we find the trillion!
Good thinking there, Mr. Sprinkles. Those people were scary, but luckily they were extremely stupid. Now let's go swim in the money vault. The $1 trillion is all mine.
You left your name on my phone.
See any wealth here to redistribute?
No, just red rocks.
Rats.
Anyway, yes, Elon Musk was very, very, very briefly the first trillionaire in the history of humanity.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
nice cat.
Yeah. You can't probably a little bit smarter than your cat, but the one that keeps meowing in the back.
Mr. Yeah, well, Danny, he's Danny's okay. Mr. Sprinkles, wasn't that a reference to Dr. Evil out of Austin Powers?
I think so. I can't remember for sure.
Right.
But I mean, it was like, yeah.
So
Elon
he
Musk,
lost a quarter of that trillion within
fairly
a few
quickly.
days.
Yeah, he dropped. He was only a
Value.
trillionaire for about a week, and then it dropped down to like 900 billion or something like that. But it was a quarter of that wealth. Not that being worth 900, because he's still worth significantly more than the next wealthiest person behind him.
Do you know the story of his grandfather being railroaded out of Canada? Essentially.
Oh well, his grandfather was he played and I know because I grew up in BC. The Social Credit Party in BC, one of his the Social Credit Party in BC was the de facto governing party in BC from I think the 40s all the way up into the 90s for like half a century.
That's right. Yeah, they did a pretty good job of keeping it together.
Yeah, like they were the governing party. The most recent BC election, the NDP won by 1 seat. Yeah, a bare majority, and also
that's pretty dodgy, man. That's not a really overly enthusiastic, mandate. Clearly.
Well, I mean, here's the thing that's happened in BC is that the Conservative Party there, the BCCP, they have recently purged a lot of the woke contingent out of their party.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So there is an actual, like Alberta now and Saskatchewan, there is an actual non-woke, dedicated non-woke, non-leftist party in BC, which didn't really exist before, because the Liberal, they were called the Liberals, but they were kind of like more of a center-right coalition. They renamed they renamed themselves from the Liberals to the BC Conservatives, because it was getting too confusing. They were confusing the BC Liberal Party with the Liberal brand in Ottawa under Trudeau, so they renamed themselves. And then they lost this last election by basically the Greens control the balance of power, is what's been going on. It's been going on
That
in
seems
BC.
pretty friggin' that's dodgy as all hell, man.
Yeah,
Similar
it
to the
is.
way, like the way the federal election went down with Carney pilfering the public, government coffers. I don't know if you followed that or not. There was hardly
Yeah,
any
I did
mention of it in
follow
the
that.
news.
Yeah, there
There's
was.
a tune of it was over $75 billion he used as his campaign war chest. He took that from the Canadian people. I don't think it's ever been paid back, obviously. $75 billion from, and that's all, and that just compounds the interest that we are expected to pay on this phony debt scheme that the
Well, I mean,
banksters have in place.
Elon, I can't remember what the name of the university. I think it was Queen's. Elon got his university education in Canada. Queen's
Yeah.
University.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And he did try. It was interesting. I learned a little bit about him. I think it was on Joe Rogan, talking about him traveling. His dad kind of, so the story goes, wanted to have him experience, because they were like what, diamond miners or something like that in South Africa. It's not the worst sort of.
Yeah, it's a little bit dodgy. It was very dodgy at one time when.
But he traveled. He traveled across the Canadian prairies during time that he had, on free time on his hands. But he also worked, got his hands dirty, and a lot of blue collar jobs. As a farmhand and different things like along those lines. So he says that he was, because of his family that spread out across the prairies. But his grandfather was essentially a rabid, supporter of Hitler and the Nazis. That's at least how the story goes. That's what led him to being shown the door back in the day and having to leave Canada, rather
Yeah.
than have face who knows what sort of prospect exactly, if any major like legal repercussions or.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, his grandfather, Elon Musk's grandfather, played a very critical role in the formation of the Social Credit Party in both BC and Alberta.
The technocrats, man, the technocrats as well, in conjunction with the Social Credit Party. That's really important to, for people to take note of and look into that as well. The dialectic. I don't know if you've ever seen their little, the way their branding, the logo that they use, the technocrats. It's this dialectic, like a yin and yang sort of deal, but one where you find and it's red and white. It's not the standard black and white yin and yang, nor is it intermingling. This goes back to the pre-Socratics, where they had these two different schools of thought. Essentially, they had many schools of thought, but one of the basic divisions that was drawn had to do with the way that these dialectics kind of opposed one another to some extent. One was intermingling with the white and the black and the white, and the other one was mutually exclusive, so that you had white and black and never the twain shall they meet. Although you got to ask yourself, well, what is this fringe border, partition all about then? Like, what are we talking there? So, but the technocrats, it's red and white. That's their logo, the branding that they use with their dialectic. icon. And you see them sometimes, or at least I used to back in the day, driving through BC on the Vancouver Island and elsewhere, even in the interior, where people just out on the edge of their property, by the highway would post, for those with eyes to see. These
Yeah,
little,
BC's a little bit of a strange case because it's like, and this has always been the case in BC, and I know because I grew up there.
Mhm.
It's basic. I mean, a lot of people keep thinking, and they thought this for years because it was like the NDP is a left wing party and the Liberals were like center left. So everybody just assumed that BC was just a blue state or a red state if in Canada in relative terms. And what they didn't know was that the Liberal Party wasn't really the Liberal Party. It was more of a center-right coalition that just called themselves the Liberal Party,
What are you
right?
talking about? Was this during the time of like the Bennett family? There was old
Yeah,
man
well,
Bennett, then
after
there was
yeah,
Bill
there's
Bennett, and then Bill Vander Zalm. Didn't he take over the social
yeah,
credit?
I remember. I
And
was in college when Bill Vander
Mhm.
Zalm. It
Don't
was
you do you know, it's interesting too, Vander Zalm is totally down. He's totally, all about exposing the chemtrail agenda.
Oh yeah,
Uh
I know that. Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? There was a thing called the Ninth Street Pub, which was actually at one point about 3 blocks away from where I was living at one point in Vancouver. And it was at 40, I think it was at 49th and Night. That's what brought Vander Zalm down. But Vander Zalm, I believe Vander Zalm was the last social credit premier, and then after that, what ended up happening is that the powers that be in BC decided that they couldn't back the social credit party anymore, and there was a new party and with an old name called the Liberal Party, and there was a big, huge controversy because the head of the Liberal Party was actually was banging one of the members of one of the other MLAs in his own party and causing a conflict of interest, and they kind of used that to get him removed. And the Liberals, that's how the Liberal Party was formed, and that's how Gordon Campbell got elected. Was
Yeah,
via the Liberal
he was
Party.
the head of the Liberal Party at
Yeah,
that
it was it
time,
was it
right.
was it was Bill Vander Zalm, Michael Harcourt, and then it was Gordon Campbell. Gordon Campbell was a bit of a strange bird, by the
Oh,
way. Like,
totally. Yeah.
he was. I can remember in the early 2000s, right? And this is because Daniel Smith does not do this. Although I have Daniel Smith has showed up one time at an anti 15-minute cities event that occurred in Edmonton. I just kind of looked over to my right, and Daniel Smith is fairly short, right?
I've seen her in those videos. The
Yeah, she
protester
is.
shows up kinda incognito.
Yeah, she's kind of short, and she doesn't really. I mean, she's smart, but she doesn't have a lot of presence about her, right?
In
So she just
person, you're saying?
in person, yes, she just kind of like snuck in and listened to this event and then disappeared again. It was like, that's Daniel Smith. Gordon Campbell, though, and this was really weird because I mean, at one point I was working in and around Canada Place, and Gordon Campbell has his office in that area. Gordon Campbell used to. There was a star. And I think you know this one. Robson and Thurlow. I called it 2 Starbucks corner, right?
Mhm.
Gordon Campbell used to go into one of those Starbucks on a regular basis to get his coffee and would go back, and I would like look at him and I go, "Hey, Gordon." He actually I saw him so many times that he actually recognized me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Gordon Campbell was a really, really strange bird.
He lost his father at a really young age.
Yeah.
And that does something to a young person's psyche.
Well, I mean, I lost my dad at a very I don't even remember my dad. Yes, but it was like, yeah, so anyway, Elon Musk became the world's first trillionaire, and what ended up happening here, it was that, I mean, you saw massive spurging out by leftists on social media, and they were acting as though and this is something that I have to keep specifically one of the which is why I'm posting the photo up right now. AOC and various Democrats and various leftists on social media were acting as though they were somehow entitled, which is why I played that video. They're acting like they were somehow entitled to his money, right?
Speaking of boning people, find them, fuck them, and forget. Be funny with Musk. Somehow managed to put an AI video together of him, have AOC come after him, complaining, the same way we saw in the last video, and then him managing to the next scene or some point along the way it shows them in bed together.
Well, I mean, AOC, I have pointed this out. It's like AOC, especially when she was in her early early and mid 20s and even to her 20s, and still now. I mean, AOC has got a really impressive rack. We're kind of getting off topic here, but she does, right?
Oh, wow.
But I mean, anyway, but yeah, she's also a raging leftist and a very
she's a useful idiot.
Yeah, she's a very incompetent legislator. By the way, she has announced that she has thrown her name in. She's thrown her hat in for the 2028 Democrat presidential ticket. Good. But anyway, yeah, so everybody was all freaking out because Elon Musk became a trillionaire. You had a whole bunch of people on, not so much on Twitter, but on threads that were all like acting, and they got really pissed off. They get really pissed off when you look at them and you tell them, it's like, yeah, you're not entitled to somebody else's money, right? And it's like, because I'm actually going to be doing a video on this. The weaponization of envy and covetousness, which is not, I mean, it's one of, again, I'm not a particularly strong religious scholar, but one of the 10 Commandments is, thou shalt not cover my thou shalt not cover my neighbor's wife, thou shalt not cover my neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover my neighbor's my wife, that type of thing, right? And it's really, it's like, yeah, and this is just that whole communist. And by the way, 4 or 500, one of the topics that we will be covering is the fact that there's a group inside the Democrat Party known as the Democrat Socialists who are really, really trying very hard to not be known as communists. And of course, right, in the era of weaponized autism and people doing digging and research, it's being blown out of the water. But it's like, what I'm seeing with Elon Musk is I'm just seeing a lot of people being really envious. I don't envy the guy at all myself, right? But I respect what he does. I mean, I don't have him up on a pedestal or anything like that. But it's like, yeah, it's covetousness and envy is what it is, right? And they just seem to think they're entitled to stuff. Now, keep in mind, Elon Musk is far from a perfect human being. He, in the manosphere community, is what's most popularly known as a blue pill alpha. If you don't know what that term means, it means a guy who has his business life and his public life, like his business or whatever he does away from the house, he always has that in order, right? But when it comes to the women that he chooses to live with and his domestic situation, is just fucked up. And I mean, he has picked some really bad women over the years. Ashley St. Clair, Amber Heard. Yeah, there's been a few of them that, and it's like some of his kids that were raised by their moms have not turned out to be all that well adjusted. And again, right, they can't really blame that on Elon, because Elon is gonna do what Elon is gonna do. right?
His time with Amber Heard, I don't think lasted all that long, did it?
Well, I mean, I suspect that he kind of figured out what Amber Heard was about really, really quickly.
Uh-huh.
Amber Heard, and we've, like I said, we did a lot of stuff on Amber Heard during when it was going through that stuff with Johnny Depp. Amber Heard is
she's sociopathic.
She's sociopathic. I was about to say, at the absolute best, she is an extreme narcissist at best. Sociopathic is definitely not out of the question with her. Ironically enough, speaking about people but again, this is probably for the Naroki 5 live stream, but I actually saw this on a Twitter post today. There was a person going, like, literally blaming Johnny Depp for the fact that Amber Heard shit the bed. Oh, well, she shit the bed for a reason. It's like, she shit the bed because she's a fucking psychopath and a psychopath and a sociopath, right? It's not because of anything that Johnny Depp was doing, right? Because, like, I mean, that's
yeah, and it's the ironic, to paint a completely flip side of crap in the bed is how Johnny Depp came out of that whole business smelling like a rose. Really, he couldn't have looked any better. Like, he just was
well, I mean, the thing about it is Johnny Depp is an extreme leaf. I mean, like, I remember very specifically because again, when he was doing 21 Jump Street in Vancouver, he actually got charged at one point with assault. There was also another guy who had a girlfriend that worked on the set with Johnny Depp, and him and Johnny Depp didn't get along particularly well because I mean Johnny Depp did eventually outgrow it, but for like a fairly significant period in his 20s, like, he was that self-important Hollywood asshole, right? And that's, I mean, he did eventually grow out of that, but I mean, and so did Leonardo DiCaprio, by the way. But I mean, it's like, Johnny Depp was not a perfect individual by any. He's also allegedly he's in recovery now as well, or has been at some point, right? So he's got a drug problem as well. But yeah, Elon Musk has picked some really bad women. In fact, Ashley St. Clair.
Hence the blue pill, I guess, the blue alpha.
Yeah, blue pill alpha, right? Yeah. He's picked some really bad women over the years. And again, it's not like he can't afford to take the hits, right? But I mean, yeah, like,
you gotta wonder, like, where's his head at exactly?
Well, I mean, it's like he doesn't have to be super picky, because it's like if some woman ends up causing him trouble, like, he can simply pay to have his personal security remove her from his life.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got 14 kids too, I heard. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's gotten around.
Well, but still, it's that's nothing in comparison. The story of it's at least one. There's got to be more of these high level, whoever they think they are exactly. I don't know, but they're producing countless number of babies. Like, we're talking like 1,000 or hundreds of babies that they're producing. Chinese billionaires.
The anchor babies.
Yeah. We're talking hundreds, man. And you walk into their mansion, and there's what you've got is little like baby, well, not carriages, little cradles or whatever, I guess cradles, and with them being nursed and taken care of in that form from not in that manner. But it's just wild. It's like what, and the reason they're doing that, you know what's behind it all, don't you?
Yeah, I have heard, but yeah, refresh my memory.
Well, it's so that when they grow up, they can have them strategically placed throughout the world's infrastructure.
Oh
Whether it's
yeah,
politics or business or banking or entertainment or media, you name it. So and then they can work together as it's a pretty as it's a powerful network essentially.
And also one other thing that because I mean, people have desperately tried to tie Musk in with Epstein. Hasn't really worked. They have interacted. Keep in mind, Epstein liked to be photographed with well-known people. He was a really narcissistic motherfucker. He liked being photographed with famous people. There was an email interaction between Epstein because Musk is in only once. He's in there only there's a one thread conversation
wanting to get freaky on Orgy Island.
Yeah, wanted to get freaky on Orgy Island, but I mean he couldn't make it. But it was sort of like
he probably sensed something. He knew better. There's part of his spidey sense that was going on.
Yeah, and he was probably being diplomatic, but I mean, there have been people that have been attempting to twist that around. So, but anyway, yeah, what really blew me away on this was just the envy and the entitlement. And it's like, I'm actually going to be on the Naroki 5 live stream at some point in the next couple of months. I'm actually going to be doing a topic on envy and the weaponization of coveting other people's property and about how it's been turned into a noble thing, right? As opposed to going out and getting it yourself.
So has stupidity, in case you haven't noticed. It's like, making a virtue out of stupidity. I guess that's central to the whole idiocracy type blueprint, really.
Yeah, Idiocracy was supposed to be a movie, not a guideline on how to operate your.
Same with 1984,
Yeah.
Brave New World. So, anyways, look, Naroki, I think I can only stick around maybe for a few more minutes here. So why don't
Okay, so let me just move on to the next topic. Oh yeah, next music. We're done on this topic anyway, so
I should maybe duck out then. That would be a good time, perhaps. What is the next in the crosshairs exactly?
Okay, all right. Well, the next thing in the crosshairs is the Supergirl stuff.
Well, I'm gonna split for sure. I've just heard a little bit about it, so it's like, okay, you're the expert. This is your wheelhouse for sure. So let you have at it. I might listen in live, and that's about the extent of things. But
all right, yep. So thank you very much, Jeffy. I didn't think we were going to go almost 3 hours. I figured
it was crazy. Yeah, it was a good time. It was great reconnecting. It's been a while. I've been trying my damnedest. You, Robert Morningstar. And there's a show I was actually been invited onto. They'd like to hear more about my sort of paranormal sort of history and different little stories that I can bring to the table.
So yeah, on paper, probably on the 15th, that will be the 500th episode. I suspect there's got to be quite a few people on.
That's my birthday, man. So that's the 15th and that's the 15th.
The 14th or the 15th, one of the two.
Well, that's okay. Well, and we're a day ahead here, don't forget, too. So you're thinking 10 o'clock in the evening, is that right?
Well, I mean, let me just take a look at my schedule.
All right. While you're doing that, WPRPN.com is where you can find us. Of course, World Pirate Radio Podcast Network.com. Operation Secret Santa, the 10, I think, well, actually, by God, was it our 12th year this past December? Or it's going to be. If it wasn't, it will be.
If it's on the 15th, it's got to be in the afternoon. I mean,
that'll be the 16th year. That's my birthday. But hey, you're the centennial baby. I'm the moon rocket kid.
Yeah,
because I was born the day. Actually, they landed on the 20th. I think I was born the day they took off. And we're distant. Our family on my mom's side, so the story goes, distantly related to Neil Armstrong. So how cool is that? Small world.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, no, I have to be according to this, I have to be at work at 9 o'clock on the
All right.
15th. So if we do it, it's
Okay.
going to be in the afternoon. I can maybe
Oh, that'll be
if
tricky.
it or I can move it to the 14th and we can do a simulcast or something like that. I don't know. We've got
Hmm.
we got a little bit of time to figure it out.
I shared my Minds URL with you, the whole Minds channel URL. So if you would be so kind, be sure to add that to the show description and things.
Yep.
So
Okay. All right.
thank you, my friend. All
Thank
right.
you for showing up. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to go over 3 hours, but looks like we are. But I can handle the last two topics by myself.
Yeah, and say hi to Rearson and Kelso for me, along with any of the regulars that have been showing up as of late. Maybe I don't know if Angels had been reconnecting with you
Angel's
or.
been in and out. He was
Uh-huh.
dealing with some health issues.
Oh, I
So,
know. It's
yeah,
terrible. It's tough.
you know,
So
he's gotten better, but yeah, he's been dealing with some health issues.
yeah.
Anyway,
Peace out,
so
brother. Happy
yep.
sailing.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks a lot. Last two topics. So the next break is going to be Alexander Nakarada. The melodic interlude is only about a minute and a half long. Here we go. Okay, so there is no video for this one. Yeah. Perhaps it's a good thing Jaffe walked away because I might actually be going off on a bit of a rant on this one. As we all know here, Supergirl, like specifically Millie Alcock, said a few stupid things prior to the release of Supergirl. And what ended up happening is that it brought to light a whole bunch of other things that have occurred inside the DCCU led by James Gunn. By the way, we covered James Gunn at one point because I mean he had some very disturbing content on his Twitter, which he has since deleted, but it had some very like pedophilic angle to it. What ended up happening here, and this is very specific. Is Supergirl, first of all, she made a comment about men in general, and she said something in a way, and it's like literally the man is like, if you're going to tie the manosphere into it, and trust me, there was one fucking idiot on Twitter who actually did try to blame the manosphere for what happened. And the reason why he did what he did, I'm actually looking up because I actually left a response to him, a direct response to him on on my page on my profile here. Randy Caswell. Oh yeah, John Pavlovitz. John Pavlovitz tried to, and because what ended up happening is the first thing that, I mean, Millie Alcock basically quoted something directly from the Pages of Feminism, and it's like, and the guys in the manosphere were like looking at that and going like, nobody, not even anybody in the fucking manosphere talks like that, right? Like that's straight up feminist rhetoric, and had she had left it at that, it might have, you might have just been able to kind of dismiss it as a young, immature, blonde Australian girl saying something stupid, but then she doubled down on it. And the second time around, she was like slagging Christian dads and that type of thing. And it was like, okay, now you're insulting your fans. And instead of dropping the issue and moving on, the studio hired a bunch of bots to go in, and the bots apparently some other stooges and a lot of feminists came in and thought it would be a really good idea to continuously insult the fans, specifically the male fans. And they kind of went, and it got closer and closer and closer. And of course, right, the critics got their previews. And of course, and by the way, these are the woke critics at Rotten Tomatoes. And they gave it a kind of a meh score. Now, the Stooges over on social media attempted to twist that around and try to say, oh, well, the critics are just a bunch of out of touch men. And it's like, no, it's not a bunch of out of touch men, right? Like the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are a pretty fucking woke bunch of people. They are. They're a whole bunch of woke. They're a bunch of woke. To pardon the term, most of the critics, because I've seen this happen with movies that are controversial, and again, we will be covering Citizen Vigilante on the next show. The critics will give it a shitty score, and then the audience will give it a high score, and the critics will give it a high score, and then the audience will give it a low score. Emilia Perez is an example. The critics gave it a really high score. The actual audience couldn't fucking stand it, right? This one was actually, the audience gave it a somewhat higher score. The critics gave it a kind of a meh, like a 57 or 58, like not good, but not really bad either. And instead of just kind of staying quiet about it, they started making more excuses. And what ended up happening is that, well, when it came to the actual release, it didn't do particularly well. And of course, they're also mocking Millie Alcock's appearance. I'm just going to say this right now. Millie Alcock is probably about a 7 out of 10, right? She's upper mid, which is strangely enough where most actresses generally tend to lie. She's good looking, but she's not like wow. Maybe an 8 if you're if you're feeling generous. But again, right? And it was like, and of course, no big shocker, right? Because they knew it was coming. It didn't do particularly well. 67 million in its first weekend. And not good, especially since they probably need at least 350 million to come anywhere close to break even on this project. $68 million will bring the haul in when all is said and done, somewhere between would be my guess, but not over 150 million. And out rolled the excuses, as in the photo you're looking at right now. John Pavlovitz again, right? I'm going to just say this right now about the Manosphere and Supergirl. Supergirl was somebody actually got really fucking like snotty and abusive and actually started yelling and hurling insults at me when I pointed out. It's like, because I'm involved in the Manosphere, right? Like, Supergirl was not mentioned very much in the Manosphere at all, except when she did this thing right at the very start. And the only Manosphere tie-in at that point was the fact that it's like Jesus fucking, like, that whole, like, her conversation was like, yeah, well, geez, like, not even guys in the Manosphere will talk that way, right? Among the other things, they tried to blame men, even though they made up 60% of the audience. And yeah, I got another stupid one out of that. Like, yeah, somebody actually did this on Threads. Somebody actually posted up that, and I'm shit you not, this is what she said. They went to the movie so they could hate on it. No, I am not making that up. That has literally got to be one of the stupidest fucking posts I've ever seen in my, like, even for Threads, that was pretty stupid. They tried to blame men for it, even though men made up 60%, only made up 60% of the audience, so women weren't going to see it either. A couple people brought up MAGA, which was just really fucking pathetic, because, I mean, even less so than the Manosphere, nobody in the MAGA community mentioned Supergirl at all that I saw. If it got mentioned, it was only mentioned as an afterthought. But yeah, there was at least a couple people who tried to blame MAGA for this. There was one idiot, and I have to fucking mention him in person. His name is Joe Russo. So Joe Russo, Joe Russo, Joe Russo, Joe Russo. This dude was such a fucking idiot. Like, I mean, this guy has destroyed his brand and his reputation. He posted up, and yeah, I shit you not, this is what this idiot posted up. Oh, I'm sorry to all the men. I'm sorry for all the other men out there for doing this movie. And it's like, it was just like, it was an epic simp post. He got called on it. And he has such a large ego that he kept doubling down and doubling down and doubling down. And he actually had a meme where he was like saying that, oh, all these people that are being critical of me are bots, and it's are these monkey bots. And it's like, no, Joe, you said something so fucking phenomenally stupid, right, that you deserve all the grief you're getting, all of it. And he kept simping out and doubling down. And of course, when it became, and instead, and this is something that after the first weekend, when it was very, very clear that Supergirl was not going to turn a profit, right? He proceeded to keep doubling down. And then when it became clear that he had destroyed a huge part of his reputation, he started playing the victim. There was another one, and yes, somebody actually went there on this one as well. Someone actually said that, oh, well, Supergirl's going to be like Fight Club or Blade Runner. It's going to be one of those movies that's going to do really well after the fact. And it was like, No, Fight Club and Blade Runner did not insult their audience ahead of time. And both of those movies had an edgy, dystopic feel about them. And I know because I went to see Supergirl, that Supergirl does not have. Yeah, fans, people, bots, I'm guessing, largely saying, "Oh, well, I went to the theater and then I saw this person and da 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 da," and it was like, "Yeah, I'll pay 144 million fucking dollars on things that never fucking happened." I actually, again, saw one today or yesterday. Now, sorry, where the person actually said she went to a Supergirl movie and that the theater was completely packed, and it was like, yeah, that's bullshit. Because I mean, again, I went to Supergirl 2 days ago. It wasn't empty, but it was less than half full, right? And I will give my interpretation of Supergirl towards the end. I will also say this about Supergirl. The amount of simping and the amount of insults thrown at people being critical. Like, I mean, there was a couple people online with me that doubled down to the absolute point of fucking stupidity over this. In fact, if you go over to Twitter and look up Supergirl, you'll still see people making excuses. And it's like, you know, I just got so sick and tired of it. I just started like posting up like take the fucking L. Like take the fucking L. Right? Yeah. Here's the other thing that has occurred with this movie, and I will say this just before I get into the actual review. The head of Warner Studios, and I did not know this, but apparently James Gunn, and they really did botch the marketing on this. James Gunn hired the writer, and the writing was just awful. And I will get into the writing in my last section on this. He hired the writers and he hired the advertising team, and the executive, the CEO of Warner Brothers went in, fired the entire advertising team for Supergirl, and basically said, you know, you're not having this writer write up the next Wonder Woman story. Like, no, right? And he did that because the script and the story was bad. Millie Alcock wasn't so bad, but I mean, it was like, yeah, this looks like James Gunn. And again, they're blaming the bots and everything. They're blaming everybody but themselves for their fuck ups, is what's going on. And anyway, so it gets into week 2, and I go see the movie, and yeah, no kidding, it drops to number 3. It didn't even debut at number 1 because another movie it didn't even debut at number 1. I'm still seeing people, because it did apparently pass 100 million in sales, and people were trying to make that out. It was a big deal, and people were also, and I saw this today as well. It just needs another 75 million to break even. It's like, no. It needs another 75 million, approximately, to cover its production budget. It needs at least 350 to 525 million to actually turn a profit. It needs 350 million minimum to break even. Probably more. It needs 525 million in order for it to be something resembling a profit. It's not going to get there. It's not going to be a cult classic like Fight Club or The Matrix or Blade Runner or a movie like that where people go, or Heavy Metal, where people go and see it years and years and years later because it's got a cultural. It's Supergirl is not that kind of a movie. It's not. The amount of simping, the amount of excuse making, the amount of look. First of all, it's not. I haven't seen this type of play for a movie since Black Panther. I mean, people yelling, screaming, and insulting me for being critical of this movie. And there is a lot to be critical with on this movie because I saw it. It wasn't even really particularly true to the story, which is going to bring me up to the last photo here. Now this is the story that it's based on. She didn't even stick to the story because in the end, with the bad writing, she doesn't let the girl kill the villain. The Supergirl kills the villain herself, which is nothing that she didn't do in the original story. Overall, okay, so I went to see the movie. It actually started off kind of funny. It started off on a very, very strong footing. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's not all that bad. And the comment when she first runs into Superman and asking Superman, wondering why Superman is still wearing his underwear, was actually kind of funny. There was a few funny scenes, and the story about Kandor and whatnot is also very true to the original version of the story. Although, again, the status of Kandor has changed in the DCU since then. But that's what happened with Kandor. The whole issue here is the fact I saw it and it was funny. It was actually it looked like it might have actually gotten a bit of a bad rap. And oh, by the way, I gotta say this right off the bat: Millie Alcock is not ugly. Okay, she maybe got a bit of a simian forehead. Her face is not particularly all that great, but her body just fucking rocks it, man. So I'm gonna give her a solid 7 out of 10. It's when you get into the story a little bit more, about how the villains are very, the villains are very classic human trafficker, man, bad, woke villains. A villain that you want to see. If you're a woke writer for Supergirl, it's exactly the type of villain you'd want. They just happen to pick her spaceship when they are stranded on the planet that she's on, and it's like they shoot the dog. The dog is in trouble because they're on a red sun and they can't move him, so they can't fly him off. They can't fly him to a planet and she doesn't have her ship anymore anyway. The way she gets her powers, gets to a yellow sun to get her powers back, is all like, should they just happen to get hit by space pirates and they blow her out the airlock and she gets exposed to the yellow sun when she's out in space. It's like, yeah, that was like, the writing started to get really, the holes started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the wokeism started to get bigger and bigger and bigger as it went along. However, I will say this: it is better than He-Man. It is not quite as good as The Mandalorian and Grogu, at least in my opinion. But had they marketed it better, had they decided to fucking rein in those fucking idiot tweeters and idiots on social media that thought it would be a really good idea to insult your potential audience and then tried to deny that they were insulting their potential audience or blaming the manosphere, which was just patently stupid, blaming MAGA, which is even more fucking stupid, or, it's just like blaming men or blaming anybody but themselves. Only problem is that accountability came up and the head of Warner Brothers and DCU fired the marketing department. Hopefully they will learn their lesson. I will also say this, Millie Alcock was passable. She played her character pretty decently, right? And had she kept her fucking mouth shut, on the next Superman movie, she might have actually even had a bigger role. But now because she's done that, and James Gunn, who is clearly not taking responsibility for his own fucking actions in this, is in trouble, right? The entire marketing team for DCU has been fired. The writer of the Supergirl movie has allegedly been fired, and for good reason. They were the reason that, even more so than what Millie Alcock did, they are probably as much, if not more, to blame than Millie Alcock. Millie Alcock said some stupid fucking shit. She deserves the blowback that she's getting. The number of guys that I have seen fucking simping the fuck out for Millie Alcock is just, it's almost laughable. But there you go, right? Gonna give the movie a 6 out of 10. Had its moments. It's definitely better. Like I say, definitely better than He-Man. Maybe just a step or notch or two behind Mandalorian and Grogu. So it was gonna lose money, but I mean, trying to desperately deflect away from their bullshit to try and save this movie was just pathetic. And with that, I gotta move on to the next topic here because we're at 3 hours and 27 minutes here. So I am gonna put in this, and we're gonna play the last musical interlude, and then we're gonna get into it. The last one we're gonna be getting here is Elegant Machine. So here we go. Okay. The European EU Parliament passed some restrictive new laws around immigration. So yeah, here we go.
The first reading of Parliament is closed. The agenda, the report by Mrs. Brigmont on the EU-Pakistan Agreement modification of concessions on tariff rate quotes. Vote on consent by roll call vote. The vote is open.
Okay, so what happened here? Well, what's going on in Europe and it's a microcosm of what's going on in North America. Islamic refugees or Islamic immigrants have a culture that is incompatible with the values of the West. And it was easy to control the situation when, the leftists and the woke crowd were in charge of what was going on at the EU. But what's gone on, and this is something that's happened in Denmark, it's happened in Sweden, it's kind of happened, even though apparently there's a move to ban AFD in Germany, for the protection of democracy and everything like that. The European Parliament has started becoming, and this, by the way, despite the fact that the pro-immigration faction in like the Rothschilds or whatever you want to call them, the WEF crowd controls the media and controls a lot of the corporations in Europe. Popular sentiment, and then there was always, like, for instance, Hungary. Viktor Orban got voted out, Viktor Orban got voted out by another right winger. The left is basically pretty. And there were already countries in Europe, Italy, and a few others that, thank you, Anthony Keys, for following me, by the way, that were always anti-immigration. Italy has jumped ship. France needed to pull at all the stops to prevent Marine, and then now apparently they were attempting to confine her to house arrest and whatever. Basically, they're trying to Trumpify Marine Le Pen in France. But what's going on, Denmark and Sweden, it's like, all of these countries are having to take put tighter immigration controls on, because if they don't, then they will get AFD or the Swedish National Party or the Reform Party in the EU. Well, again, the UK is not sitting in the European Parliament anymore, but you get my point, right? They're not doing particularly, like, they're losing control. And again, right, the anti-immigration faction at the EU is now the majority, and they passed. I don't know the exact mechanics of but they really decided to tighten up on the immigration rules. I suspect going along on the long term is that what's going to happen is that they're going to actually, and again, this is the sentiment right now, is that they're eventually going to get to the point where they're going to start sending a lot of these people back, and a lot of the countries are starting to send these people back to where they came from. Send them home. Send them back. Right? There is a very strong leftist faction at the EU that voted against this. They tried to make a lot of noise. They tried to protest, only to get shouted down by the you heard the crowd. They were doing that in response to the leftists attempting to make noise about it. And the whole thing is that, I mean, what you're likely seeing here in Europe is that the fact that the majority of the individuals involved is yeah, Roger, maybe I will take a look at that, maybe even upload it to the to my content here in just a second. Is the fact that, yeah, like, they're having to do this, otherwise they become, which is basically something that's happening with the Democrats, and what's also slowly happening with the Liberals and the NDP in Canada, and so on and so forth. Is that you know, uh they're having to do this in order to be electable, right? So this crowd that used to control the EU is now losing their control to the anti-immigration faction in the European Parliament. And what's going on here is that what's going on in the European Parliament is that they're losing control, right? And ultimately what's going on here is that, I mean, and this is something that Kelso has brought up from time to time, is that this group knows that they're losing, and instead of just simply packing it in, they're fighting and they're resisting every part of the way. And you need only look at the old what I was talking about, the Supergirl thing, right? Like, I mean, people too stupid to know that they've lost, right? I understand the immigration replacement concept. That being said, you know, Mr. Hatfield and his corporatist sentiments is that the elites have made it so that, I mean, anybody who like, it's expensive to have fucking kids, right? And that's something that the Muslims are going to find out too, right? When they come here and they're here for a generation or two, the ones that stay, the ones that don't get evicted, they're going to find out the hard way, right? That, you know, that it's fucking expensive to have kids in the West. And they're going to stop having kids too. And they're going to be right back in the same boat. Except now there's going to be this huge population in the West that is incompatible with the values of the West. And this is specifically in Europe. And it's going to take a couple of generations to westernize those Muslim immigrants, because so many of them have come over that they've got literally their own they basically have their own neighborhoods inside Western countries, specifically France and Germany, and those have to be broken up. So yeah, this is a political move. It's not being done out of morality. It's being done because if they don't do it, the consequences for not doing it are steeper than if they choose to do it. So, I mean, it's a political calculation. Good on the EU for doing that, but, you know, a long ways to go. And is the West even savable at this point? Well, again, right, if you compare it to previous empires in the past, and empires go through these low ebbs and these high ebbs, right? Rome faced the situation, for instance, like Trump gets compared a lot to Gracchi. Gracchi, by the way, ended up being killed by the state. They have tried to literally, they have tried to kill Trump. They've tried to put him in jail. They've tried to metaphorically take him out in the US as well. You're seeing the same sort of thing happening to the various Western countries as well. If they do not go along with the reforms, what's going to happen is there's going to be another group or another individual that's going to come along further on down the road in another 10 or 15 years that will push it, and they will push it even harder and more aggressively because they knew what happened to the last group. So they either embrace the change or they get swallowed up by it. But anyway, that concludes this particular show. God damn it, I did not think I was going to be going 3 hours and 40 plus minutes. I am going to finish this off here with a band walking off into the distance. And the song that I'm going to finish up here is Red Pale Transmission. Once again, by Roger. And that will be it for tonight.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your monitor. Monitor. Remain seated. Remain attentive. This proceeding is now in session. Transmission. 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 We are controlling transmission. We will control the horizontal. We will control the verti. The record will reflect full compliance. The Red Pill Nation rises with measured breath, script in hand, ink like depth, line by line. The weight increased, words don't end, they multiply beneath. We can change. The focus. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. But clarity cuts. And the blur conceals. The blur conceals. Conceals and neither stops what the text reveals. We shape the sound, we name the name. The voice obeys until it will. For the next hour. Sit quietly. The broadcast will continue. Unbroken. The broadcast will continue. Unbroken. The broadcast. The broadcast. Cast. Will continue unbroken. Stretch beyond their spine. Margins whisper out of line. He pauses once, then twice, then more. The text begins to read him back. We will control all that you see and hear. All that you see, all that you are about to participate in a great miscalculation, a narrative that will not close, a sentence that refuses punctuation. Finger slips, contact made, vision blurs, and stage decay. The courtroom breathes, but says no word. The script continues, unconferred. continuing, directing, continuing. The red pill hangout was never outside. It was the edge of what could be heard. The broadcast does not end. It continues through you.
Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps.
If you hung on for the full 3 hours and 48 minutes, congratulations. I will see you tomorrow afternoon, I'm thinking. Have a good night.